Lisa Lacera, Fox News, as Senate Democrats call for changes that include accountability as the deadline for a partial government shutdown approaches.
With the deadline approaching for a government shutdown, Democrats are refusing to support a portion of the bill that funds the Department of Homeland Security.
This is not border security. This is not law and order. This is chaos.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats have three demands to rein in ICE: an end to roving patrols, a uniform code of conduct, and prohibiting mask wearing while requiring body cameras. Majority Leader John Thune believes the best path forward is to pass the six-bill minibus as is that funds DHS, the military, and a list of other agencies to avoid a shutdown Friday.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. Federal agents involved in the deadly shooting of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis have been placed on administrative leave.
Though calling it standard procedure, saying it should not be viewed as any suspicion of wrongdoing. It's also being reported that Preddy was known to federal law enforcement, that he suffered a broken rib in an altercation with ICE agents a week before he was killed.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. The Federal Reserve keeping its key interest rate unchanged after lowering it 3 times last year.
This normalization of our policy stance should help stabilize the labor market while allowing inflation to resume its downward trend toward 2%.
Chair Jerome Powell, two Fed governors Stephen Myron and Christopher Waller dissented, preferring to see rates lowered by a 0.25 percentage point. Waller is being considered to replace Powell, whose term expires in May. And Powell has not said if he will stay on the Fed's Board of Governors. After the announcement from the Fed, there wasn't much movement from stocks. The Dow up 12, the NASDAQ gained 40 points. America's listening to Fox News.
Sniffles and sneezes got you down? GoodRx is here to help with big savings on commonly prescribed cold and flu meds. GoodRx is free and easy to use. GoodRx is accepted at all major pharmacies like CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens. Just search your prescription, find a coupon, then show your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx is not insurance, but it works whether you have insurance or not. If you do, GoodRx may beat your copay price. Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com to save today.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Folks! The yellow light! I'm walking here!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here on Seattle Red 770 AM. We are streaming on the Seattle Red app. Ilhan Omar gets to call herself a victim, which will then strategically be used to ensure that she's not criticized for anything. We'll tell you the latest, but first, some significant local economic news, not good news for the region, and that's what's trending.
What's trending in Amazonia?
Amazon is slashing about 16,000 corporate jobs. It's going to happen in part 2 of the massive layoffs that we first brought you a couple months ago. This is the second major layoff announcement in 3 total months. And they said part of the reason why they're doing this is they're going to use AI to replace certain corporate workers and corporate roles. It has been, on top of that, also reducing the workforce since they overshot a bit in their hiring during the pandemic when they thought everyone was going to remain indoors online instead of going back to traditional ways of shopping and just living, I guess. And this is essentially a course correction on top of the AI issue. And this is the same that's been going on in the tech sector, not even just locally, but globally. But obviously locally, we've seen the reports of the layoffs at Meta, at Microsoft, at a lot of the tech companies that do work with these major companies. And it seems like the message is clear to employees.
This employee told me outside the Amazon spheres in Seattle, the message is clear. No job is safe.
After 14,000 layoffs in October and another 16,000 this month, despite the company saying it does not expect more, he tells me many coworkers fear additional cuts, and they're starting side projects outside Amazon just in case.
Start something small. Don't depend on anybody, I think.
Luke Ducey, Cairo News Radio.
So that's from our sister station, and that's an important piece of all of this, right? I mean, again, we generally know where things are going. This is going to have serious ripple effects, according to Todd Bishop, co-founder of GeekWire.
Yes, it has been a very difficult job market for people who are impacted by cuts like this. Even people with tons of experience who in the past would have been courting multiple offers. They would have been trying to get poached by recruiters in the past. I mean, it is a different world these days.
It is a different world. And that's what transformative technology does. It creates a completely different labor market, a different world. And we're now seeing this all unfold in real time, and it has thousands of people. We don't know exactly how many are going to be local, but I'm guessing a good chunk of them are going to be local, given that Amazon is headquartered here. And what is interesting to me is the ripple effects, not just within the tech sector, right? I mean, there are ripple effects across the region, just economically, from a real estate position. We've heard from local real estate experts, agents who are now taking on accounts to sell homes or condos. And what they're hearing is that the people that they're selling homes for or condos for, they're Amazon workers, or now former Amazon workers, or future former Amazon workers, since this goes into effect in a few weeks from now. They're leaving the state. And they're not just taking their future earnings with them from a tax standpoint, but they're not going to local shops. They're not going to be spending, even if they were to stay in the region, they're not spending the same amount of money on going out to eat or getting their car detailed or taking their clothing to a tailor, or you know what I mean? Like they're not getting, they're not going to the laundromats. They're not doing all those things, and all of that adds up. That one cup of coffee to them that maybe they purchase at a local coffee shop once a week, or maybe a couple times a week. Yeah, that's $8 to them, $10 to them, but that's a lot of money to the coffee shop owner, who isn't just losing that one customer, they're losing dozens and dozens and dozens of customers. And so $10 per person, and you're losing, let's say, 30 people a day potentially. Yeah, that's a lot of money in lost revenue. This does matter. And we're going to fully realize the pain within a few short months. I mean, this is the kind of thing that happens rather quickly, especially if they're choosing to leave either the Seattle area or the entire state. And as Todd Bishop said in that last clip from our sister station, Cairo News Radio, I mean, it's not like they can just hop over to another tech job that's also paying mid-six figures. They're not going to be able to do that because they're also laying people off, or they're stalling their hiring. And this is not, in fairness to, frankly, anyone in power. So, you know, anytime there's economic news here, Democrats will blame Donald Trump, will point out to local issues, and there are undoubtedly local policies we can point to, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the biggest reason why this is happening is actually quite simple: AI. It's artificial intelligence. And it makes total sense, because if you can create technology that can do the work of multiple humans in a fraction of the time without any of the downside or costs associated with having humans, which isn't just their salary, but it's their vacation time, it's their sick time, it's if they were to get injured on the job, you now have to worry about the legal liability, it's the gossiping and all that stuff, the sexual harassment, Jackson knows. And it's just, like, that's a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy, when you can get some AI software that does everything they can do in seconds, and they don't talk back. That is the dream of managers everywhere. Wait, I can get something done better, for cheaper and faster, and not have to worry about anything? Okay, sign me up. So that's the reality. Now, at the same time that AI is impacting our jobs, our labor industries, not just tech, you can't ignore the fact that you've got policies on the books that make it even more difficult to operate a business successfully, to make a profit. And you've got all of these different policies in place, taxes in place, coming from local Democrats or state Democrats that don't exist in a vacuum. They're being introduced and put on people at a time where AI is a looming threat. Doesn't really make sense for them to do that, but they do it anyway. And rather than stop and say, maybe this is not the right time for insert whatever tax they're trying to push or insert whatever piece of legislation they're trying to push that's going to make business more difficult to operate here, they're starting to say, let's do it anyway and then some. Because we're knowingly putting in place all these policies and taxes that are going to throw people onto the streets, that'll be put out of business. But we still need the money because we still want to spend the money that we're getting. So now we got to figure out, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, who are we going to tax next? Who are we going to target next? And that's the insidious nature of everything that's been happening in Olympia over the course of the last several years. And you can make the argument this is not just something that popped up in the last several years, but it really accelerated this far left lurch from Democrats in Olympia over the last several years. Boy, did it accelerate. And we're now suffering some more of the consequences as a result. There's going to be a lot more people who will hear from over the coming days as they start speaking out about being let go or getting their layoff notice. And it's going to hurt a lot of people downstream, like a ton. And, there's not a whole lot of glass half full approach you can take to news like this, other than if you're not impacted directly and you can try to downplay some of the indirect impacts, I guess you could say there's less traffic. Right? I live in Amazon land. I live in South Lake Union. So when things go bad there, they impact me directly. And yeah, I suppose I could say, well, I guess it's not going to be as trafficked, but that means restaurants are going to struggle. Prices will go up. Maybe prices on housing come down in the near short term, but I mean, it's not, you look at the housing, whether it's purchasing, we're already starting to see tank. And we talked to Matt Goyer, the real estate guy, 2 weeks ago? Like the condo market in Seattle is just, it's imploding, he told us. But then when you look at apartment rents can only come down so much because the buildings themselves are very expensive to operate and they're well staffed. So I don't know how much we're going to see rent come down as a result of this. And a lot of these people do rent. It'll come down some, just basic supply and demand. So, man, my lease is up in like a month and a half. I have 2 weeks before I have to decide whether or not I'm going to buy or get renew my lease or go somewhere else. I don't think we're going to see effects that I can pounce on.
Yeah, wait as long as possible, I guess.
I'm going to wait to the last possible moment at midnight before I sign whatever it is I'm going to do. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending in Trumplandia?
Speaking of savings and money in the economy, this is actually really good news. And if it didn't come from Donald Trump, if this were labeled Biden bucks for young kids, I guarantee you this would be celebrated. This would be celebrated by everyone in left-wing media. The president announced today that he's instituting these Trump accounts, and they're for kids where they will get a seed contribution of $1,000 when they're born. And some kids, people under the age of 18 who are currently, teenagers, for example, they still also can apply for this or would get some of the benefits. But let's just talk about it at its base level. Because the intent of all of this is to get you to have a stake in the economy and to see long-term growth. The way I kind of think about this, and we'll hear from one of the brainchilds behind this, Brad Gerstner, who's the founder of Invest America. He was on Fox News this morning. But the way I think about this is like a 401k that fully realizes when you're a teen. Doesn't have to. You can hang on to it in there and have it just grow and grow and grow for as long as you'd like. past 18. But that's really what this is about. This is like a children's version of a 401k.
Forevermore, every child born in America is going to get an investment account at birth, and we're going to put $1,000 in it. And families, moms and dads, companies, states, philanthropists, and others can add to the account. $5, $10, $1,000. If you start with $1,000 and you add just $750 a year, think about that. That's about $50 a month. At age 18, every child in America will have $50,000. At age 30, they'll have $200,000. And at age 55, they'll have $1 million that they privately own.
And by the way, that's a conservative estimate, obviously, because they're putting it into low-cost equity index funds, right? So the growth could be a little bit larger than what he's talking about.
They can use it to fund their education, buy their first home, start a business. This fulfills the president's promise to get every child in America into the game, reconnected to the American dream, not by depending more on government, but through private ownership, owning a little bit of NVIDIA, a little bit of Microsoft, a little bit of our greatest companies.
And this has the added benefit, of course, of helping to stimulate general economic growth with American companies. And because of the amount of money we're talking about, it's so little, you can think of it more in terms of these are your own tax dollars or the family's tax dollars being given back for growth. That's why I like this idea. Because I can envision some bad faith actor saying, it's socialism, without understanding what socialism really is. What's the downside of this? Other than it came from Trump and no one wants to give him any credit on the left? What are they complaining about today?
That's what they're complaining about.
That's it, right? That's the only substantive, in air quote, complaint that I've heard so far today. There's some who just completely ignored this because they don't know how to spin this as bad news. But why is he putting his name on it? Well, because like most people, they want to be remembered for doing really great things. That is the basic human nature of literally everyone, wanting to be at least remembered for the good that they did. There are some people who are completely selfless. I don't know who. There's got to be someone out there. And don't tell me Mother Teresa, because she loved it. She had an Instagram account that she was very active on when she was alive. Don't give me that look. But doesn't this benefit young people and at least get them to think about money a little bit differently?
So at age 18, imagine this, Bill. They're going to get this money at birth. By the time they're in elementary school and middle school, we're going to start the financial education process. The teacher will say, get out your phone, open up your Trump accounts. Let's talk about what it means to own a stock. Let's talk about how this compounding works.
And by the way, if I knew what I know now back when I was younger, and, we're obviously not talking about like a 4-year-old, although some 4-year-olds, maybe they identify as stockbrokers. But if I was like 13, 14, 15 years old when I truly started to understand a little bit of how things work, you tell me just about compound interest, oh my God. If someone back then told you, hey, if you contributed $50 a month to whatever account, by the time, and you can't say when you're ready for retirement, it's going to be worth $1 million because no one can really think that far ahead. But if you were to say, hey, in 5 years, the $50 that you put in there is going to be worth $200, whatever it is, that would be life-altering. Because again, when we're talking about like a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid, their understanding of money and the concept of what a dollar is, or $10 or $100 is markedly different than what it is we think of as adults, right? If you tell me I go from $50 to $200 in 5 years, I'm like, that's it? Okay. I can buy nothing with that? What am I supposed to do? Get out of here. I would laugh you out of the room. But a child, that's super impressive. That's really impressive. And it gets them to start thinking a little bit.
It's a mechanism, a universal private ownership platform to teach financial literacy to all these kids. At age 18, they can take a certain percentage of the money out to buy a home, start a business, or go to college. Otherwise, it rolls over into an IRA account and, just grows over the course of their life, and they'll have it for retirement.
And the smartest thing for probably most 18-year-olds will be to just keep it in that Roth IRA and let it grow and grow and grow. That's the smartest thing. I mean, but no one, I wouldn't make that decision at 18. I'd be like, we're cashing this out. Going to Vegas. Well, 21, I guess. You know who was at the summit today? Not me, even though I was invited, I couldn't go. They invited me on Monday to go there for today.
Oh, that's
And I was like, I want to go, but I need a couple of extra. You can't just give me literally 2 days to get out to D.C. I've got a dog. And they were like, you got a dog? I was like, did I not send you a note and say, I thought I sent you 10,000 pictures of
I was going to say the same thing. I didn't know that.
No, and usually, I'm pretty open about my life, but for some reason, when it comes to my dog, I've been keeping it private. I could have met Nicki Minaj and then struggled to understand anything that she was saying because she speaks the equivalent of writing in big crayon. That's all I hear.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
It really, God bless her. I've often complained that we don't have enough A-listers on our side outside of maybe some country music stars, but that's not as big tent.
You got like Scott Baio and
yeah, and I like Scott Baio. I like Superman. We've got some really quality people, but they're not necessarily A-listers. Nicki Minaj is an A-lister.
Yeah, she's big.
That's big. And she's a big fan of Trump.
I don't know what to say, but I will say.
That was a problem because they did invite you up there to speak and you knew that, but you didn't know what to say. Now, in fairness, if I'm Nicki Minaj, I'd be like, look, I love the president and I'm really down for what it is you're doing, but why are you inviting me to a financial literacy and financial support announcement? What am I supposed to do? I'm a billionaire. I don't need to have any financial literacy. I pay other people to be financially literate for me.
That I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more.
Yeah, that is the biggest, and I mean biggest benefit to Trump, is that people, I think, instinctively feel if you tell them not to do something or like something or support something, they're like, I like it, I support it, I want it even more. That's how many Trump voters who are maybe a little bit reluctant or who ultimately didn't vote for him the first time, but then says like, okay, just dial this back a notch, man. Give him a shot. That pushed them into Trump's corner.
He's like a big middle finger.
100%.
And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him. And
how does she have such a significant Brooklyn, New York style accent? Isn't she from Trinidad?
Yeah, I thought she was like Caribbean of some
But she sounds like a New Yorker.
Yeah.
You know, the smear campaigns, it's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen?
She wanted an amen, Jackson. Give it to her.
Amen.
Gosh, what do you need me to, why'd you need the Jew to prompt you?
Well, Jews pray, right?
Yeah, but she's Christian.
I didn't even know that she was particularly religious, but
I think she's super religious, and I think that's what got her on the radar or got Trump on her radar because of the persecution of Christians.
Oh, yeah.
Overseas. And didn't she go to the UN and do some big thing with the president or on behalf of the president or something just last month?
I remember she was at AmFest.
Or maybe that's what well, she was also there, but I'm pretty sure she went to the UN. I do love the idea that she is now a face of the conservative movement. And I don't know even if she is, I'm guessing Nicki Minaj is not uber political in the traditional sense. We're not going to have a sit down discussion that gets into the weeds on policy or even ideology. I think she just says, this makes sense to me and my family and my community and my religion, and that's it. I'm in. That's probably my guess. And that's how most people are. Most people can't debate policy. That's okay, right? You have lives. For some of us, this is our life. We have to know the policy so we can debate the policy. But most people can't debate policy on either side of an issue. Something either makes sense to you or it doesn't. Something feels right or it doesn't.
That's why we have our gut instincts.
Precisely. And so the average person is Nicki Minaj. A little less out there, I suppose. Because her hair is a little nutty. You see her hair?
Yeah.
What's going on there? You criticize her so I don't get called a racist. I like her.
I do now, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. Could you name a single Nicki Minaj song?
The only one I knew was Starships.
Right? That's the only Starships were meant to fly.
Yeah, that's a kind of a fun song. But
Yeah, I guess, except there's cursing in it. And so I imagine some of the social conservatives, like the hardcore ones, probably don't like it.
we can listen to the edited version.
Yeah, but then it's higher than a...
Yeah.
That's all it is. They just do like a little scratch of the vinyl. She also did Side to Side, Super Freaky Girl, Anaconda. I knew that one.
Yeah, I feel like she has a lot of songs. Like if I heard it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I know that. But
Super Bass. I think, or it's a fishing song and it's super bass. Do you think average people know? I think people would recognize her songs, couldn't name them. Older folks. But if they saw her, they'd know, oh yeah, she's an A-lister.
yeah, just because she has kind of a unique look.
Do you think she could get a cabinet position? Could we give her HUD?
I don't know if she's ready for that.
No, I think we can give her HUD. No one cares about HUD. I can't even remember the guy's name who does HUD. I only remember Ben Carson.
Oh, yeah.
I forget the guy's name. He's from Georgia, I think.
Yeah, isn't it like Scott something or...
Isn't he an athlete? 1-800-465-87... Scott Turner.
Yeah, Scott Turner, yeah.
Okay, once I saw it, I was like, oh, no, now I know who it is. 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages. Be honest, did you know who the HUD secretary was? And wouldn't you be a little bit more excited from the chaos that Nicki Minaj could cause at HUD? I'm not going to lie. That's exciting to me. 1-800-465-8770. Not exciting is political violence. And Ilhan Omar nearly died yesterday after she was squirted with apple cider vinegar. We'll get into that and so much more when we come back on the Jason Rantz Show.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And you'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/plan for 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Winter weather means slick roads, darker mornings, and more accidents across Western Washington. If you or someone you care about ends up on the side of the road after a crash, safety comes first. Get out of harm's way, exchange information, and make sure a police report is filed. But then make the most important call you can make. Harold Car Law Offices. That one call can save you time, frustration, and a whole lot of money. After an accident, your job is to heal and get back to your life, your family, your work. It's not to sit on hold with insurance companies or chase paperwork or argue over medical bills. That's what Harold Law Offices does for you. Their 48-person legal team handles the insurance companies, fights for the full value of your claim, and takes the stress off of your plate. They don't get paid unless you do. If you've been in a car accident this winter, remember the name you can trust. Harold Car Law Offices. Car is spelled C-A-R-R. They're online at carlaw.com. C-A-R-R. Carlaw.com. Car accident? Call CAR. And tell them Jason Rantz sent you. Carlaw.com.
File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. File on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
This hour of the Jason Rantz Show is brought to you by General Transmission Repair.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was at a town hall event yesterday when she was apparently sprayed with what law enforcement say is apple cider vinegar, which, if you consume before a meal, is very good for digestion.
I was going to say, don't people use that for like weight loss and stuff? And
you can. So there's lots of different uses for apple cider vinegar. It's not necessarily weight loss per se, but it absolutely can help with that. You can also put it in your bathtub. And if you have a body odor issue, which perhaps this was really what the attack was really about, it takes care of that because it has like antimicrobial properties, kind of like coffee. I take apple cider vinegar every so often. I'll put a little bit diluted in water because it's got some health benefits. But I don't think that's what happened yesterday. I could be wrong. I don't want to just accuse the guy of attacking her, even though Anthony James Kazmierzak is seen on video lunging at her while spraying this on her shirt or her sweater. And right before the attack, she was calling for either the resignation or impeachment of Kristi Noem. Here's how it all unfolded.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Was she asking a question if she should resign or face impeachment, or was she making a declaratory statement? I couldn't tell because she ends every single sentence with a question mark.
She's like, seriously, how does this work?
I think she should resign. Do you think she should resign? I said I think she should resign. Now, I know. You don't know if you think that, or are you asking that? I think she should resign? What don't you understand? What if is it possible that when she asks a question, there's no inflection? What don't you understand? Here it happens.
I don't know.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Oh my God! He's crazy!
Oh my God!
I need a napkin to know nothing.
Just give me a napkin. Give me a napkin.
No, we will continue.
No. Ilhan, you need to go get checked.
Ilhan, go get checked out. You were just sprayed with apple cider vinegar. Now, of course, they didn't know it was apple cider vinegar. She was, I'm sure, thrown a bit. That's going to make you... The adrenaline rush is going to maybe cause you not to understand how serious what that was that happened, because it could have easily been something that was actually damaging. It could have been acid for all we knew, although we would have figured that out rather quickly. But, you know, I don't want to downplay what happened. It was serious. She's obviously wise enough politically to lean into this, and Republicans would do the exact same thing It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, something like this presents itself to you and you're perfectly fine otherwise. Oh, you are going to ride that one. Oh, you're going to benefit from that. Immediately, you're going to get on that microphone and say, I persisted because I'm a hero.
We're going to keep talking.
Yeah.
Just give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just give me 10 minutes. I beg you. Please don't let them have the show.
And she's talking to, I'm presuming, a security guard who's saying, I know you're going to fire me, so I'm really going to lay it on thick here and say it's best that you just leave because I obviously can't protect you from lunatics who are going to spray you with apple cider vinegar.
Please don't let them have the show. Please don't let them have the show. Here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand.
He was ugly.
I think it's the first true statement she's ever made.
Yes, and I'm glad she didn't add Jew to that, but she was correct on that one.
We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us.
Including apple cider vinegar. How did they not know what they said it was just a stinky substance, which to me, when I initially saw that report, I was like, would someone send like urine or something? Apple cider vinegar is very distinct. How did they not know?
I've never actually smelled it, so.
It smells like apple vinegar. I mean, do you know what vinegar smells like?
Yeah.
You know what an apple smells like?
Yeah.
Put those two together. That's what it smells like. She went on CNN to say she's not going to be intimidated by apple cider vinegar.
Representative Omar, are you okay?
You know, I'm going to go figure if I am, but I feel okay. I feel that it is important for people, whether they are in elected office or not, to allow these people to intimidate us, to make us not fight for our constituents and for the country we love.
Wait, do you love our country and your constituents? Because you had a question?
And as I said, you know, I've survived war, and I'm definitely going to survive intimidation and whatever these people think they can throw at me, because I'm built that way.
Okay. So the response has been silly on both sides, frankly. I overwhelmingly, and this was done intentionally, this is also strategic from Republicans, they all immediately jumped on Twitter and said, this is unacceptable. Like, you had to. And it was wise. They should have. And I believe them. I think most politicians realize anything that happens to your enemy can happen to you very easily. And so obviously this should have been condemned. You had some people immediately try to pretend that this was somehow the result of Donald Trump because he was critical of Ilhan Omar. He's been critical of her for how many years now? Every
long
year?
time. Yeah.
And so they were just waiting, I guess, for something like this to happen so that they can pin on him. Here's my friend, Abby Phillip on CNN.
Ilhan Omar in particular has been the center, and you heard it there from the president, the center of a lot of awful attacks. He called her garbage.
Which is so much worse, I think, than a Nazi, Adolf Hitler, fascist who's trying to kill everyone while getting peed on by Russian hookers. Way worse to be called garbage.
What should the president do? Should he pick up the phone and call her? Should he?
No.
Should anybody say enough is enough? We need to tone this down. When it particularly.
Well, hold on, Abby. And this is what I would have said had I been on this particular episode. And I'll be on February 9th and 10th next. I can appreciate wanting to tone down the rhetoric, but given y'all didn't tone down the rhetoric after a second assassination attempt against Donald Trump, feels like there's no point in even asking that.
Or a successful assassination
or
of
a
Charlie.
successful one. Yeah. I mean, y'all on the left were celebrating that. And then you pretended you weren't until you couldn't pretend anymore because the videos were all out there and everyone was participating. So, you know, just saying.
When it comes to her. We should be.
This is Jim Schultz, former Trump White House attorney.
Saying enough is enough across the board on these things. This particular incident, the Josh Shapiro incident, all of them, where the president did pick up the phone and call Josh Shapiro after he had his house burned down in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. You know, those types of things happen. Should he pick up the phone and call Ilhan Omar? That's up to Donald Trump whether he wants to do that. If I were the president, I'd pick up the phone and make that phone call.
Here's the thing, though. Donald Trump is actually responsible for the vitriol. So is there going to be any acknowledgement of that? Should there be?
He's responsible, singularly responsible. And again, I would push back respectfully. he's the only one responsible. Y'all call him a Nazi almost daily. And you call lots of people on the right all sorts of names. So this idea, I'm not going to pretend that Donald Trump hasn't added to the nasty rhetoric. He very clearly has. He has. There's no doubt. If anyone says otherwise is lying. But this idea that he's the one responsible? No one. Ilhan Omar isn't responsible for this? Ilhan Omar, who's an avid anti-Semite, is she responsible for any of the anti-Semitic attacks? And this idea that somehow Trump is, we don't even know anything about the suspect. Have you seen any update on who the suspect is?
I've seen like people doing some like internet sleuthing, but nothing like official.
I haven't seen anything. Now, like he might very well, I'm assuming he's a crazy person. Right? I'm assuming he's on the right. I don't know that, but I'm assuming. But I guess we're going to ignore all the crazies on the left? Now, speaking of crazies on the left, there was immediately some people who, well, I certainly understand, decided to say that this was another Jussie Smollett situation. I'm going to go out on a limb that this is not a staged incident, given that if it was staged, I feel, unless I guess you're really committed to the cause, probably don't want to put yourself where you're not even covering your face and you're immediately caught. I'm going to guess Ilhan Omar is smart enough to say, we can't really get away with this if we catch the guy immediately. So I don't subscribe to that conspiracy that Senator Tommy Tuberville has also decided to put out when he went on the Benny Show today.
Well, this person sat on the front seat on the front row, right in front of Omar, and then took off running to the right. I mean, if you're going to have somebody that's going to go after somebody, they're not going to run away from them. And that
what the hell does that even mean? What are you talking about? Who is it normal for someone to go after someone and then stay and be all like, arrest me now? What is he talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Well, how did he get into the front row? He got to the front row. He probably got there early because he realized that he wanted to do this, and it would be much more difficult to approach a congresswoman as a huge burly man from the back of the room.
That was pretty much all staged. Now, again, I'm just saying that because you look at what the Democrats have done and how they act and the things that they say that they're supposedly for our country. And then, of course, she is under big time investigation. She's trying to get the heat off of her. At the end of the day,
which is why she's going to take advantage of this, no doubt.
This is.
But by the way, if you got a lot of heat on you, I doubt you're thinking to yourself, let me do something that would be very easily proven to be a scam, a staged effort. That will make it way worse.
The Democrats, playing games. And Ilhan Omar needs to be in jail. And as you said, she's as guilty as they come. Third world country and worth $30 million. Hey, this is a great country, and they shouldn't be trying to change it like they are if somebody like her can make $30 million.
It is true that she has every reason to be seen as a victim. It is also true that because of all the added scrutiny to what appears to be some at least shady-looking shenanigans on the back end that made her and her husband so wealthy, that could have put a bigger target on her back from people who want her to suffer a consequence of it. Now, again, thankfully, this was just some dude with apple cider vinegar, and it wasn't something serious. She is, in fact, a victim, though she is not one who should now escape any kind of scrutiny or criticism or matching her rhetoric with our own rhetoric. I'm not going to fall into that, but I'm also not going to pretend that this wasn't a bad thing that happened. Now, am I tearful over this and really no, because she's okay and I don't like her. I think she's an anti-Semite, so I'm not going to cry over this. But I can also push aside my hatred of what she stands for and her own hatred of my people and say that this is not something that's okay and it should be condemned immediately, multiple times, loudly, and clearly. Tommy is not doing that. And he's just kind of in the crazy town of our party. It's true. He is. He sometimes makes really good points.
I kind of like him.
I like him too, but he's kind of existing in our crazy
he's
town.
definitely a little bit of a loose cannon.
Yeah, I like Crazy. Just Senator Crazy Town. And I say that again, I like Tommy Tuberville. I think he follows me on X, so I like him. And that's the only way that you can get me to like someone, really, is if you follow me on X, which is Jason Rantz on X.
And his dog's Instagram is the dog D'Artagnan.
No. Oh, yes. Wait. Yes. Right?
Yeah.
The dog D'Artagnan?
Yep.
Okay. Spell it.
We did the D, capital D, apostrophe, capital.
It's Instagram. You can't have capitals or apostrophes, dummy.
Oh, I thought you meant the actual name, not the Instagram account.
Both.
It's DARTAGNAN.
There you go. I haven't posted that, or I mean, he hasn't posted that in a while. Now I usually just post the cute dog photos on my own Instagram under Jason Rantz. 1-800-465-8770. I'd like to hear from you on this topic. Be honest. Do you actually believe that this was staged? It'd be a great story if it were staged. Believe me, I wish that were true. But do you actually, honestly believe that? Text 1-800-465-8770. When we come back, some bad news for Democrats here in Washington, which it's very rare to get bad Democratic news, but we've got it when we come back on the Jason Rantz Show.
Spring is right around the corner, but the perfect time to start your outdoor project is right now. Natural Design Landscaping has been serving Seattle and the East Side for nearly 30 years. They design, build, and maintain stunning outdoor spaces, from full makeovers to weekly maintenance. Beat the spring rush and get your yard project started today. Mention Seattle Red and get 10% off your first service. Visit naturaldesignlandscape.com to schedule your consultation. Natural Design Landscaping, let's build something wonderful together.
If your furnace isn't working right, that's an All Red emergency. Call the heat doctors at All Red Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Our licensed and certified techs bring the heat, treating every brand of furnace, from quick diagnostics to on-the-spot repairs and getting your home warm again fast with no surprise upfront pricing. Go to trustallred.com, because if it's all red, it's all right. Trustallred.com.
If it's all red, it's all right.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz here for Northwest Safe in Enumclaw. They're online at nwsafe.com. They do what you think. They sell safes, and they've got a ton. I mean, you go to their showroom in Enumclaw, you go to their website, nwsafe.com, and there are a ton of options for you. Everything that you need, high-tech to low-tech, large, small, mid-size. They are an exclusive Liberty Safe dealer, and that means you get better pricing, exclusive rebates, and a huge stock of safes ready to be delivered with their in-home white glove delivery service. This is the best of the best. Whether we're talking about protecting your firearms, documents, your precious metals, I think you're going to want to make sure, especially in a state like Washington with lax laws as it relates to bad guys, you probably want to make sure that you're protecting what matters to you most. They can help you do that. And if you need help choosing the perfect safe for you, they've got an expert sales team. And if you're doing all your shopping online, they will record a personal video walkthrough to help you find the perfect fit. nwsafe.com, Northwest Safe in Enumclaw. Give them a call at 1-888-404-SAFE.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels right here at Seattle Red, 9 a.m. Sunday mornings. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Kenny is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Kenny's insights and The Gold Show this Sunday morning at 9 a.m.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder, now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. There's new Politico analysis projecting what the Electoral College could look like after the 2030 census, obviously based on the data that they currently have. And it is setting off alarm bells for Democrats, including here in Washington State, which is why I absolutely love it. I love this. You see, Politico ran population and migration data. They mapped out how Electoral College votes are likely to shift by the end of this decade. So just 4 years from now. And the trend is hardly subtle. Blue states are bleeding people. Red and purple states are gaining them. And that translates directly into lost political power for Democrats at the presidential level. And so in Washington State, you would see one fewer Electoral College vote according to this map. If you're California and New York, you're projected to lose multiple votes. Texas and Florida are expected to gain even more. Now, the shifts are important. And I imagine there's going to be some people out there who would say, but Jason, doesn't that mean you've got more liberal voters in places like Texas and Florida? And doesn't that make it more likely that a Democrat is capable of winning there? And perhaps if we were seeing that big of a shift and it was going all from one state into one, or you could look at who's leaving and say they're all progressive liberals who are leaving. But Democrats are worried about this. So that's the hat tip, that this is not about being more competitive in red states. This is about having less influence in blue states. That is the problem here that they're seeing. And Washington is at risk of losing an Electoral College vote. I'm all for it.
I wish we had zero.
I wish we had negative. I want someone to win here and then they lose their votes. That's how I want it to be. And the part that Democrats don't want to talk about, they keep insisting demographics are destiny. But migration is politics with, U-Hauls. That's what migration actually is. People are voting with their feet. And they're voting against progressive governance. And the longest time we've been told the big cities, quote unquote big cities, particularly on the coasts, LA, San Francisco, Portland and Seattle, New York, Boston. People want to live there because they're amazing. That's why people keep coming. It's amazing, except they're leaving. They're leaving, and or people who don't live in the big cities feel like they're ignored or forgotten outside of, say, a Seattle. Let's say you live in Enumclaw or Yelm, or you're out in Republic. You matter. You count. Your vote counts just as much as mine does in Seattle, but no one talks about you. And so you might say, it's not worth living here anymore. And you take your values and your vote somewhere else, and that ends up hurting, from an Electoral College perspective, Washington State. And if you zoom out nationally, the problem compounds. They need to win. Democrats need to win almost everything on the board to secure the presidency. If blue states like Washington or New York or California start to lose electoral votes while red states gain them, they start every presidential race points behind before a single ballot is cast. And given the results of this last election in the swing states, again, you can't be a Democrat and be comfortable with losing all of the swing states, regardless of who your candidate was. You can't be comfortable with that. But I don't get any sense that Democrats are looking at this kind of news, and other than some of the people behind the scenes complaining about what this might mean publicly, they continue to lean into the crazy. I was on Fox Business before we came on the show today, And we were talking about back in 2010, Obama gave a speech against illegal immigration, saying we have to have borders. We can't be a country without borders. And today he's taking the opposite position, which is path to citizenship. We need more people, all these. So he completely did a 180, 16 years ago, since 16 years. And all the Democrats basically are on that same page with the exception of people like John Fetterman, for example. Now, why the change? Well, two reasons. Number one, the base of the Democratic Party has been overtaken by socialists and communists and the most radical of radicals, and they don't believe in closed borders. They are open border Democrats. And eventually, Democrats looked at the numbers of people coming in, and they looked at the base and they say, hey, let's placate the base, but also let's build our base. Let's build our voting bloc, because our end goal is to get these people the right to vote. They've already tried to do it at the local level in New York, D.C., San Francisco. They've not been successful once it gets in front of a court. But that's their end goal. And when they say they want people to be citizens, it's the pathway to citizenship is a pathway to voting. That's what they want. They think that they're going to gain their vote. And that's why they wanted those numbers to stay in Texas, for example, or even in Florida. That's why they got really upset when they were being sent to Illinois. Like, we already have control of Illinois. We don't need anybody else. Keep them in Texas so they can vote for us. So they're obviously aware of what changing demographics mean. You would think, though, that given how unpopular their position of open borders is, or their unpopularity on gender issues, you would think that they would course correct the messaging just a little bit, but they're not. With few exceptions, I think you can probably throw in Josh Shapiro into that. He's clearly trying to be a moderate. Rahm Emanuel, who's not a moderate, is at least saying, oh, no, I'm a liberal, but all that stuff is crazy. That's not liberalism. That's hardcore socialism and progressivism. It's wise of him to do that. It's the Jason Rantz Show.
If you need security for your event or business, contact Security Services Northwest. From armed and unarmed officers to advanced remote monitoring, they've been doing it all since 1977. Go to ssnwhq.com for Security Services Northwest.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical, there's no beating CM Heating.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Winter weather means slick roads, darker mornings, and more accidents across Western Washington. If you or someone you care about ends up on the side of the road after a crash, safety comes first. Get out of harm's way, exchange information, and make sure a police report is filed. But then make the most important call you can make. Harold Car Law Offices. That one call can save you time, frustration, and a whole lot of money. After an accident, your job is to heal and get back to your life, your family, your work. It's not to sit on hold with insurance companies or chase paperwork or argue over medical bills. That's what Harold Law Offices does for you. Their 48-person legal team handles the insurance companies, fights for the full value of your claim, and takes the stress off of your plate. They don't get paid unless you do. If you've been in a car accident this winter, remember the name you can trust. Harold Car Law Offices. Car is spelled C-A-R-R. They're online at carlaw.com. C-A-R-R. Carlaw.com. Car accident? Call CAR. And tell them Jason Rantz sent you. Carlaw.com.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on Seattle Red, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
A search of the Fulton County, Georgia election office. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The FBI said to be examining records tied to the 2020 election.
Sources tell Fox News that agents retrieved documents, phones, and computers after a judge signed a warrant. President Trump has long made Georgia, and specifically Fulton County, a target of his complaints relating to the 2020 election. Shortly after that election, Trump spoke to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and said he needed 11,780 votes to win the state. At the time, Raffensperger said he felt pressure from Trump and denied any widespread election fraud. He continues to deny it to this day.
Fox's David Spahn.
Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis brought state criminal charges against then former President Trump and others in 2023 for conspiracy to overturn the election. But her prosecution was eventually derailed completely after it was revealed she had an intimate relationship with the top prosecutor on her team, and it could have tainted the case.
Fox has learned that last week the FBI moved to replace its top agent in Atlanta, though it's not clear why the move, which was not publicized by the FBI, was made. With a Friday deadline to avoid a partial government shutdown, Senate Democrats are calling for reforms to ICE. The bill contains funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says there needs to be a uniform code of conduct and accountability.
Federal agents should be held to the same use of force policies that apply to state and local law enforcement.
Majority Leader John Thune says the best path forward is to pass the bill as is. The man accused of spraying an unknown substance on Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar at a town hall yesterday in Minneapolis has a criminal history and has made online posts supportive of President Trump. Anthony Kosmarchak was convicted of felony auto theft in 1989 and has been arrested multiple times for DUI. America's listening to Fox News.
Here's a tale of Linda trying to lose weight, but the med prices she found were all over the place.
Hidden fees and markups made her jaw drop low. Then she found Good RX. Now she's in the know.
GLP-1 subscriptions FDA approved.
With clear upfront pricing.
And same-day pickup.
That's Good RX, the no-nonsense way. Save time and money on prescriptions.
Get to GoodRx.com. Good RX is not insurance.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Secretary.
Folks! The yellow light! I'm walking here! I'm walking!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here live on Seattle Red, 770 AM. Streaming live on the Seattle Red app, online at seattlered.com. We got a lot to get to. The bill here in Washington State to ban police from wearing face coverings just cleared the Senate. We'll tell you what that's really about. But first, a son surprised his father with championship tickets to see the Seahawks. The father then turned to him and said, "What about the Super Bowl? You got to be worried, cheap." That's what's trending. Brought to you by the Northwest Safe Company.
What's trending? The sports ball.
These are those kinds of stories that you just look at and you say, "Aw, I'm such an awful son." Because I never did anything like this for my father, who's no longer with us. But King 5 says Irvin Garcia was busy finishing medical school when a late-night phone call changed everything. In October, his mother called to say his father had fallen and could not move the left side of his body. Irvin Garcia, who was training in emergency medicine, immediately feared the worst. Doctors soon confirmed his suspicion. His father had suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, a dangerous brain bleed that can be fatal or permanently disabling. It was obviously a terrifying experience for the family. Thankfully, the father survived. King 5 says, but the road back was uncertain. Physical therapy became essential, and because his father was uninsured, recovery became a family effort. Garcia brought his dad to L.A., where the family worked through therapy together every single day. But one unexpected part of their recovery apparently involved football. They were throwing the ball to one another, which I feel like is not a fun experience with someone who just had a stroke and is partially disabled on one side of his body.
Well, it might have been fun for him.
Maybe. I feel like you're not really getting a ball thrown to, like you don't have to go that far. And there's going to be a lot of times where you have to bend down to pick the ball up.
Well, it's a labor of love.
It is, for sure. And at just months away from graduating medical school at UCLA and becoming the first doctor in the family, he said his parents spent their lives working and sacrificing without ever stopping to experience moments to themselves. And all he wanted to do in all of this was just to return the favor of support, which is when he decided to quietly buy tickets to the Seahawks in this last game. Erwin spoke with King 5.
My parents have worked so hard their entire life, and I just wanted to, try to give them cool experiences that, I feel like they've missed out on. I'm just going to go for it. I know it might be expensive and all that, but I'll put that on future Dr. Garcia's tab. And I just went for it. I just pointed the camera at him, and we were like right outside of Lumen Field, and he just kind of took it in, and it was like, oh, we're here. We're really going to this game.
But here's where the story takes a turn for the worst. He was so shocked at what had happened, he collapsed again. And now they're unable to afford any therapy because they spent the last remaining dollars on the game. Isn't it funny? That's where my brain went to immediately. Number one, and that didn't happen. But number one, I was like, are you sure you want to surprise your dad who just had a stroke just a few months ago? It's good surprise, like it's exciting, but man, I would be super nervous about that. I would try to slowly bring it up.
Do it in a less shocking way.
Yeah, it's just subtly. So you want to go to the game? What if I said I had some tickets? I might be I would try to on-ramp that a little bit rather than just be like, surprise, we're going in. And then number two, I immediately said, you just complained about not having enough money to be able to afford the help for him. You're uninsured. Do you really want to spend it on this? But that's because I'm a bad person. But I'm also a practical person. Did you not have at least a similar thought at any point during this story?
Actually, no, not really.
Of course not. I'm the bad person. Garcia said football was an integral part of his father's recovery from the stroke.
Any type of stroke is just one of the, scariest things, red flags, or just like a can't miss diagnosis. Part of our therapy was actually throwing a football around, just because, that was something that we sort of bonded on.
Good for him. Now, again, the father is doing really well. I saw the stills on his Instagram of just the dad kind of crying due to the shock. Part of me did also wonder, because they set it up where he was going to the game, on game day. He was there, didn't realize he was going in. Wouldn't you be like, son, why are you bringing me to Lumen Field if we don't have tickets? This doesn't make any sense to me. What, you think because I had a stroke, I'm not going to be able to put two and two together, that this is going to be interesting to me? I don't want to hang out outside.
There's bars and stuff. You could just say, I want to be down by the action and amongst all the other fans. And
no, you know what ended up happening? They went to one of those food stands that was unpermitted.
Boy, your mind really does go to dark places.
It really does. This is why you can never give me a heartwarming story. I always go to the worst places. The only redeeming value for you in picking this story, so I don't get in too much trouble, is it's not about elderly or kids. Because if it was, I would have been fired long ago for saying something awful that comes to mind when covering these stories.
But there's certain moments, in our life that I feel like you just have to experience it, and value our families and our loved ones, because that's something that's, it's not going to be there forever. Seeing how quickly life can change, has really made me cherish life a lot more. So
That's a good son. Way better than us. You've never done something like this.
For my dad, no. If anything, he surprises me with tickets, but
And you haven't even had a stroke.
no, it's true.
He gave it to you, and you're not sick.
Mm-hmm.
So good for what's his name? Irvin. Good for him. Good son.
He should go one step further though and get his dad a new jersey because he was wearing a DK Metcalf jersey.
Well, what if he's just a big DK Metcalf fan and forever?
I know.
They just said they can't even. They're not even insured. You think they're going to spend money on a new jersey? Why doesn't the Seahawks I guarantee the Seahawks found out about the story and already sent like a huge package.
They'd be smart too, yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee you. They're like, hey, I heard you had a stroke and football was a big part of your recovery. Here, enjoy this Sam Darnold or Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey, or Myers. They'd probably give them.
We'll get you a jersey of a player that doesn't punch opposing players and is still on the team.
Well, maybe he.
Actually, it just occurred to me I'm an idiot, and it might have been Sam Darnold because they have the same number. I forgot about that.
Oh, so you're saying they both look the same? Racist.
No, they both wore number 14.
Racist. Racist. Racist much? Oh wow!
Actually, they look nothing alike. They couldn't look more opposite.
Sam Darnold's a tall black man.
No, he's not. I mean, he's like the same height as DK. That's about it.
Okay, DK is a tall white Irishman with red hair. Oh no, reverse. Got it. So kudos to them. If you're the dad, are you now disappointed next week when you don't get tickets to the Super Bowl? There's no surprise. You're like turning to your sons like, so we want to go down to the airport now or what? And he's like, what are you talking about?
He's like, I already booked our hotels.
He's like, but you gave me the surprise. A post-stroke surprise doesn't include the Super Bowl? What needs to, what do I need to have a heart attack for that?
Don't even bother then. Jeez.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of my house. But Dad, I came over to celebrate from you. I came down from LA, up from LA. I skipped class. Get out.
You're no son of mine.
If you were my son, you would have taken me to Santa Clara. And we would have gone down through San Jose's airport, not SFO, because that's a nightmare. No son of mine does this. And take your Jason Myers shirt off. You don't deserve.
Who gets a Kickers jersey anyway?
I would want a Jason Myers jersey. I like Jason Myers. He's good.
The only reason I would get one is just because it's similar to my last name. But
oh yeah, you'd have to you could just take off the S.
Yeah, just peel it off.
Just peel off the little S. Like take the little stitches out, and you're good. And then people are like, whoa. Who's that?
And then I don't have to pay extra for the custom jersey.
Except there's going to be like the outline, the tan outline of the S. And be like, what happened? Push the button.
What's trending? Let's get political.
So breaking news, a bill that wants to limit when cops and ICE agents can wear face coverings in the state just passed the Senate. 30-19. This is a party line vote. It requires law enforcement officers to be clearly identifiable, including displaying a visible name or other identifying information, and it generally prohibits officers from wearing opaque facial coverings while performing their duty. This is a bill that is intended to charge ICE agents with a violation of state law. This is, in a way, it is a Trojan horse kind of bill. That's not going to end up going anywhere, but what they're doing here is using this law to try to stop ICE agents from operating in Washington. And if they do continue to operate, and of course they will continue, they're going to try to charge ICE agents and get this in front of a friendly liberal judge who will side with the state. And that might very well happen, by the way. You'll get some low-level state judge who's going to say, oh, no, yeah, this is... But it's ultimately going to get tossed, just like the law in California and everywhere else in blue states that passed this. There's something called the Supremacy Clause. And the Supremacy Clause makes it very clear that the U.S. Constitution matters more so than a state law. That's just how it works. You don't like it, you don't like it. That's on you. Don't really particularly care whether or not you like it because you're insufferably angry at absolutely everything that doesn't go your way. The reality is you can't just pass some sort of statute that throws away federal immunity, doesn't throw away any federal laws concerning immigration enforcement. You can't do anything that gets in the way of immigration enforcement, period. You cannot block the feds from engaging in policing in lawful ways, and this is lawful federally. Now, if at the national level you want to pass something, go ahead and try to pass something. I suppose you can do it then. But it's not. This doesn't mean anything. This is just meant to set up a case against ICE, and by the way, gives them a whole bunch of talking points about see how lawless they are. We pass laws and they have no respect. They have no respect for laws. Come to us, rapists and murderers, as we give you protection from those lawless ICE agents. Oh, okay.
It's basically just like one of those UN resolutions that has no
it means
consequences
nothing.
whatsoever.
This is performative at its worst. This is a Razzie level performance. Meanwhile, King 5 has another one of those silly stories on ICE, and I just want to read you the title because this legitimately made me laugh. I did an LOL. Do you know what LOL is?
Laugh out loud.
I did an ROFL. You know what that one is?
Rolling on the floor, laughing out loud.
Well, I didn't say LOL. I just said ROFL.
Oh, rolling on the floor, laughing. Yeah.
Yeah, dummy. This is the title.
Except most people that use LOL aren't actually LOLing.
I just said I literally LOL'd when I saw the story from King 5. It says, as fear ripples through schools, Washington lawmakers move to limit where ICE can go. There's no fear rippling through schools. There might be some people who have been convinced to be scared temporarily, but then they gave up immediately after they checked their Snapchat and just moved on with their lives. There's no fears ripping through schools. Have we seen a single instance in this state, anywhere in this state, where an ICE agent has gone onto campus? Have we seen a single instance in which an ICE officer accidentally walked onto campus? Have we seen a single instance in which an ice cube fell on the cafeteria floor across a Washington State school? Have we seen any of that?
No, because if we did, they'd be talking about it ad nauseum.
Everywhere. It would be the only stories we've seen, 2 of them, were fake stories of so-called ICE actions near a school. And both of them, by the way, were false stories. They were fake stories. So when they say fear ripples through schools, we're going to stop people from going into areas where they haven't actually gone and won't actually go. It's just stop. Now, they have a proposal called the Secure and Accountable Federal Enforcement Act. And King 5 says it comes as fear and confusion around immigration enforcement has begun to surface inside Washington schools. Oh, my God. They go, there was no confirmation that ICE was at the schools recently. But lawmakers backing the bill argue the fear alone, especially in places meant to feel safe, is reason enough to act. And so what does this bill do? It puts limits on where the ICE agents can go, and they're not allowed to go into classrooms, hospitals, or child care centers. Except, remember when I just said something about the supremacy clause?
Yeah.
You do know that they can still go into a school, campus, or a daycare center, right? And in some cases, they won't even need a warrant to do it. Kind of depends on the circumstances leading to why they're going in, such as if there's imminent danger. But here's Drew Hansen, the far-left state senator from Bainbridge Island.
Had reports in this state of ICE activity near a school in Spokane, near a daycare in Issaquah, and we absolutely do not want that to go further. Those are well-established constitutional principles rooted in the Fourth Amendment, and I'm very confident this will upstand a constitutional challenge. It puts them in state law, so they can't be changed by a new attorney general. You'd have to have a vote of the legislature and a signature of the governor to change them. And 2, we expand the scope of these protections to places like daycares and private hospitals and healthcare facilities and nursing homes that weren't already covered by Keep Washington Working.
Yeah, again, the state cannot stop They can't just unilaterally decide we're not going to let ICE agents go into certain areas. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. Now, you have a little bit more protection when it comes to state-owned properties, I suppose, in a more general sense. But that's still, you can't just say, this is a zone that is 100% off limits to the feds, no matter what. They have to know that that's not possible, right? They have to know that. Again, ICE, under certain circumstances, can't just get a warrant and go into a school. But we've used this example before. They're chasing a guy who's running into a school. Under what Democrats are telling you, they're saying basically that is the no-go zone. As long as you can make it to the school or to the church or to the daycare center or Planned Parenthood, whatever it is, if you can make it there, don't worry, we've got your back. So just run. Do they think that that's how this works? Yeah. Or do they think people are stupid enough to think that's how it works? Probably that.
Yeah, probably the latter, yeah.
What if that almost sounds like a movie. It probably is a plot of a movie. It's almost Purge-like. Or what's The Running Man? As long as you get to a school, they can't stop you. But you got to get to the school first. You get to the school, you'll be safe. No, it's Black Box. Was that the name of the movie? What was that? Remember that Sandra Bullock Netflix movie where they had to cover their eyes, and if they looked up?
Oh, all I remember is the meme, but not the movie.
That's kind of like this, except they're not in blindfolds; they're in masks. Oh dear God. Good for them, though. At least they're doing something during their shortened legislative session. It's not like there's anything of note that they could do to help people. So instead, they'll just bellyache about ICE and then perform their little theatrics here.
What is it about with people on islands that make them so far left, too?
I don't know. Why? Some of it is because of their wealth.
Yeah.
And I think it's also kind of like, it's almost a metaphor of the echo chamber in which they live.
Yeah, they're literally like in a bubble.
Yeah, they're on an island by themselves with other crazy, stupid people. But it is interesting because can you think of an island community that's not uber liberal locally? You can get into that peninsula and you're starting to get to some like military spots where it's maybe shades of red, I guess, but the entire community, Vashon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're all insane. They're all insane.
The San Juans, yep.
Anacortes?
Is that technically an island, though?
Oh, yeah, I guess that doesn't count. But Bainbridge.
Yeah.
They're all nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the only time it's not an island, but like Silverdale, like if you're getting into that part of the peninsula, you're fine. You're kind of in like normal territory, at least for a few blocks, a few miles. Push the button.
What's trending? Crime.
A string of break-ins left dozens of North Seattle businesses dealing with the aftermath to fix what was broken, to replace what was stolen. Someone tried to pry open a door into Julia's of Wallingford, according to Como TV. This is most definitely not the first time that this has happened. The owner of Julia's in Wallingford is named Victor, which is just very confusing to me. What Julia's? Why not call it Victor's of Wallingford?
Maybe it's named after like his mom or something.
Yeah, I don't like that. Name it after yourself. Be selfish. Selfish. He told Como TV he's not the only victim.
It looked like they used a crowbar to try to open it up. There's a lot of, businesses nearby that have also been hit. Luckily, as they try to get in, we do have a sensor, and that sensor rang, and I think it scared them away. It's definitely making an impact on small local businesses and restaurants.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, you're already struggling to survive, and then you have to deal with this. He said the same group of thieves hit several of the businesses in the area just over the course of a few hours, and that includes Wally Pets, where Como says the deadbolt and the front door were pried off. What's the point of having a deadbolt then? Is it really a deadbolt at that point?
I think they used the bolt cutters because I could see them going to town on it. Like, this is my third time. They've never come in the store. They've just kind of broke things. But think about a little guy who's just opened his business, like the coffee shop or the cookie place. Something like this can put him out of business.
Yeah, he's right. And again, in any other world, this would be a pretty significant story if you had dozens of businesses getting hit, arguably by the same group of thieves over the course of just a few hours or even a few days or weeks. You would think that this would be leading news everywhere, right? That King and Cairo and Fox 13 and the Seattle Times would be all over it, but it's just Como and Seattle Red, I guess. Why? Because this happens all the time. It's true. It happens all the time.
Yawn.
Wake me when you got news. But this is meaningful to the people who own those businesses, to the customers who are now out of luck when they have to go and hang out at the Westie or U Wine Bar or Seattle Samosa. That's samosas got stolen. Are samosas the little Indian food, or is that the orange juice and what's the difference?
Mimosa is the orange juice and champagne.
Okay. Samosas are the cookies with the coconut.
That's
and
Samoas.
Samoas, okay. So samosas are the pastry-filled Indian?
I think so, yeah.
God, those are good.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really good. I don't even know what's really in them. I know it's usually some vegetable or bean of some kind and peas. Right?
I think so.
What's in a samosa? It's Indian though, right?
That sounds right, yeah.
It's filled mostly with vegetables like spiced potatoes, onions, and peas. I do sometimes eat onions.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a dumpling, sort of, a little bit.
It's not a dumpling.
Well, not a dumpling, but
it's too thick to be a dumpling.
Yeah.
It's a pastry.
Yeah, okay.
And it's fried, and it's a savory pastry, and they're delicious. Especially, I don't like the green minty chutney thingy. The red one is good. It's a little bit sweeter. I haven't had Indian food in a long time. Tell Duncan to put on my calendar, I want Indian food for dinner tonight. Put it for 6:45, because I have some at home. I have paneer in the spinach thingy, whatever that's called. And then tell him to put on my shopping list cauliflower rice, because I don't eat regular rice very often. 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages. When we come back, we're going to dive into the big local right here on Seattle Red.
Hey, it's Guy Benson, and I told you that I'm trying something new this year. I want to have a healthier lifestyle, feel and look better. Got a really busy schedule, so what was I going to do? Well, I've engaged with the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, headquartered right in Kirkland, but you can do the program wherever. I'm on the East Coast, of course. I had a 15-minute consultation with Dr. Coogan and his team, and they were fantastic, so I decided to go for it. And guess what? A week and a half into the program, when I tell you it is working, it is working. My spouse and I have combined so far lost 19 pounds. That's in a week and a half. We're following the plan. We're trusting the process. It is working really well. So if you're interested in anything like this, at least schedule a 15-minute phone call at Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. I've had a great experience so far, as I said. I bet you will too. EastsideWeightLossClinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. $8 trillion in cash sat on the sidelines last year. $8 trillion. Where investors were either scared or just unsure where they were going to go to invest. They were scared to invest, unsure where to invest. And the reality is, I get that, I guess. But once you learn what Legacy Group Capital is capable of, you start to rethink a little bit. You start to get a little less scared and a little bit more sure. Because right now is a perfect time to strategize for 2026, an opportunity to lock in the gains from last year and invest into a stable platform. Legacy Group Capital, they're based in Bellevue. They develop local real estate, lend money, and share profits with investors. It's really that simple. Diversify your portfolio with Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate of return. Find out why over 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million with Legacy Group Capital. LegacyG.com is the website, the letter G. LegacyG.com, or give them a call at 425-635-4700. Check out their family of funds, 425-635-4700.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Ugh. Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
For almost 50 years, over 90,000 homeowners have trusted Home Comfort Alliance, including me. John Curley here. If comfort and energy savings matter to you, now you can save up to $2,000 on new heating and cooling systems. Home Comfort Alliance will replace your old system with one tailored to your home's layout while optimizing efficiency. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com. Save up to $2,000 and schedule a free consultation for heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical. Call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance.
Mitch here at Leathers, Washington's most eclectic home furnishings resource. There's a lot of chaos in the world, so take a break from social media and self-serving politicians. At Leathers in Issaquah, our design professionals will guide you to a happy place by elevating your home environment. More than leather, choose from the latest fabrics and solid wood, something for every room in your home. Our guaranteed low prices, quality, and service will lower your blood pressure and be kind to your wallet. So check the chaos at the door and come experience a Zen moment at Leathers in Issaquah.
Snoqualmie, Mercer Island, Des Moines.
This is the Big Local on the Jason Rantz Show.
Shoreline, Woodinville, Burien.
Stories about you, not about Seattle.
Hey, look at that. Look at the time. 4:30 on a weekday afternoon. That means it's time for the Big Local. Brought to you by the Scott Jennings Show. Yep, brand new show, Scott Jennings. You know him best from CNN. He makes liberal minds explode. He is now on Seattle Red, 8 to 10 p.m., Monday through Friday. He's got a best of airing at 6 p.m. on Sundays. Do not miss it. It is a great show. But this is the part of the show where we completely ignore the stories coming out of Seattle and instead focus all of our attention on the communities you live in and care about most. We start in Tacoma with an update to a story we brought you yesterday about a man who is accused of targeting older victims in a series of parking lot robberies that span several months. The suspect's name is Nathan Lewis Smith. He has been arrested on 47 counts, including robbery, identity theft, assault, and resisting arrest, according to Como TV. And it turns out that this guy, who's an alleged serial thief, he has a long criminal history that also included being in prison, just released last spring. What?
That doesn't sound right.
No. They say he was under community custody supervision by the Washington Department of Corrections at the time he allegedly committed the robberies. No. How can that be? Jackson, how can that be? He was under the supervision of the Department of Corrections. Doesn't that imply supervision?
Might have been a typo.
This is a Jeremy Harris story.
Oh, then, well, he's usually pretty good.
Yeah, he doesn't make typos or any kind of factual mistake. Huh. So weird how that works. Tacoma PD officer or spokesperson Shelby Boyd spoke with Jeremy.
Over the past several months, they've been able to link many cases together involving this individual. These elder, mostly Asian folks would leave a store, leave a cash machine, a gas station. They would get into their vehicle. They would put their purse on their seat. And as they're driving off, the person would run up, shatter a window real quick, grab what they needed, and would go. If there were this many that we found, how many do we not know about?
17.
It was very apparent that this behavior was going to continue, and it was imperative that we stop him now.
Huh. It's odd that under the criminal justice system in Washington state, it wasn't a disincentive or effective in any way, shape, or form. Remind me again, Jackson, and you might have to Google this, or ask ChatGPT, because it could do really deep dive research within seconds. Who's been in charge? Which party for the last, ever?
Democrats.
Okay. But you double check that, because we could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, but which party was responsible for the criminal justice reforms that we put in place back in 2020?
Democrats.
Oh. Any guess as to how this guy probably votes? If he was smart, he would vote.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't vote, but if he did, I'm guessing I could find a party that he would identify as the party that's all like, give you a pass. And it's so funny. I always get nervous about this idea of doing something you're not supposed to do, breaking a rule. Don't you just get in your own head of like, I'm going to get caught and it's going to be embarrassing, so let me not do that. That's what stops me from like breaking just general rules. I'm going to get caught and it'd be really embarrassing and people will think less of me. Not when it comes to jaywalking. I do that all the time, but all the other stuff, like I don't want to get caught. This dude's on supervision from the DOC and allegedly commits these crimes. Part of me is envious of that kind of laissez-faire approach to life. You know what I mean? Hands-off rules. I don't even pay attention. Part of me does. I'm a little jealous. Just a little bit. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cheat on my taxes this year. He's inspired me to cheat on my taxes. I'm not following the rules anymore. And hey, if I get caught, I've got Gregory Nunn.
Isn't that kind of what happened to Macbeth, though, in the play? Doesn't he get to stop?
Cheats on his taxes?
He stopped caring about morality and then...
Cheated on his taxes.
Well, worse, he was killing people.
It's a metaphor for cheating on taxes. And then someone came by and said, I want my pound of flesh. Right?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it was Al Pacino. Did you know he played... what was the character's name? I forget.
What?
The pound of flesh character. It's a different play. Merchant of Venice. What was the...
Oh, was it Shylock?
What was it?
Shylock?
There you go, Shylock.
Yeah, I've seen a clip of that. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he's an overactor. I don't like him. He's like, again, scent of a... Like, okay, we got it, Al. Meanwhile, we should stay in Pierce County because there's a bill that impacts a facility in Pierce County, in Tacoma. News Tribune has some analysis on this bill. It's a Senate bill, obviously coming from Washington Democrats, intended to tighten state oversight of the Immigration Detention Center. It would impose steep fines on any detention facility that blocks inspections. It would increase protections for immigrant detainees. It would expand state power in how local authorities are able to interact with ICE. And as part of this broader Democratic push to what they see as strengthen immigrant protections and limit cooperation with ICE and federal authorities to the extent that, I don't even know how much more you could limit cooperation in the state of Washington. It is already extremely limited. But it's intended not at strengthening immigrant rights. It's intended to harm ICE, make their jobs harder, ICE agents, and the federal government, while protecting criminal illegal immigrants. Do you know who is staying at an ICE facility, whether it's in Tacoma or elsewhere? Do you know which category of illegal immigrants are there?
Criminals.
Yeah. How did you... I didn't even cheat on that one. How'd you get that?
Lucky guess.
That was a good on you, dude. You are learning. Duncan cheated, didn't he? He helped you. Because it wasn't me.
He was whispering in my ear.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard. Criminal illegal immigrants. All this does is make it easier for criminal illegal immigrants to get special treatment, despite the fact that they're already not just in this country illegally, but committing crimes and taking advantage, frankly, of how welcoming we are in this country. I have no doubt it's going to pass, and again, it will be challenged in court and then ultimately rejected, which makes it all just a complete waste of time. Finally, we're getting closer. We're not that close, but Como decided to jump on the story. What's today's date?
The 28th of January.
Okay, no, never mind. It is close. I thought it was in 2 weeks. It's actually the start of February. February 1st is when, if you don't have the real ID compliant driver's license or a passport and you go to the airport, on February 1st is when you will be charged a $45 fee every single time you travel with the wrong identification. If you don't have a compliant ID, first you'll have to fill out an online form that has your name, your travel date, and give your credit card so you can pay the fee. Once you pay the fee, you print out or take a screenshot of the receipt to show the TSA agents once you get to the airport that you actually did it, and that's when they will allow you to go to alternative screening and identity verification, which will take somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes. There is no way that this is going to happen. This makes no sense to me. I think it's, yet again, one of the, I'm going to call it a scare tactic, even though I'm 100% in line with what the federal government is doing here. You've had a decade plus to get a real ID or a compliant ID or a passport. A decade. And in fairness, and this was Republicans and Democrats did this, they kept pushing the deadline to get the real ID. They kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And so no one actually thought this day would come. Then they did another big push saying this day was going to come, and you guys still, some of you, still ignored it. And now this is happening. It didn't work, or it did work, I guess, on someone like Daniel, who spoke with Como TV, says the only reason he got his real ID was for travel.
Yeah, I got it for flying. That was mainly it. I had to fly out on a flight on the deadline, the May deadline of 2025, and I had to get it expedited when I got mine. But yeah, I got it for flying. Well, supposedly you can still fly without it, so I was kind of mad that I had to pay extra to get it expedited. But yeah, I'm glad I have it now.
Yeah, it's a smart move to get it now. What's the chance? Now, I don't know what number of Americans, or Washingtonians in particular, didn't get their real ID. But let's just assume it's relatively substantial. Let's even if it's not substantial, 5%. Let's just say it's 5% of the population that flies. You mean to tell me that, number one, they're going to know to go online and pay the fee, and you're going to spend an extra 15 to 30 minutes, 15 to 30 per person, to get them through the alternative screening? So you mean to tell me that if you're in the line and there's 10 people ahead of you, you're waiting potentially 5 hours before you get through? Do you believe that at all? There's no way that that's true. There is zero chance that that's going to be what happens.
Probably not, yeah.
It's zero. Why would it take you 30 minutes to is the software just really old?
You have to use a typewriter.
It's like it's DOS. Well, and they do with just one finger, and every time they make a mistake,
You gotta get the white out, and then
you gotta hold on. Here's TSA Federal Security Director for Arizona saying you're going to need more time to fill out this form.
We'll go through a process where they'll have to answer knowledge-based questions that are specific to them. It's about a 10 to 15-minute process if you do it before you get to the airport. If not, if you have to do it here, it could take up to 30 minutes.
There's no way. There's no way that I will say those questions sometimes are difficult. They'll ask you 4 questions, and one will be like, name the street of your third apartment growing up, or name the zip code of the city you lived in when you were 27 years old. Like they all seem like they're all real.
It's like when you get those like specific questions for like your password on websites.
Yeah. Well, this is way more difficult. Although in that case, sometimes those are difficult. Like I'm pretty consistent, but what was your best friend's name? Well, upon reflection, I originally thought it was Jordan, but now I actually think it was Jason. Which one did I put? What's your favorite band? When I answered this question initially or now?
Or it's like, who's your favorite person in history? It's like, well, I think it's this guy, but I don't know.
It was initially him, but then there was this expose on 2020, and so then I changed it. I don't know what the answer is anymore. I don't want to commit myself to any of this. I've done that before, and thankfully, most of the time they ask you, what's your favorite book? What's my favorite book?
Three Musketeers?
No. It's American Psycho.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You don't even know me. What's my second favorite book?
Three Musketeers?
It's Less Than Zero.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't even know me. It's both of them are Bret Easton Ellis novels. Who's my favorite author?
Bret Easton?
It's Alexander Dumas, you dummy. The author of Three Musketeers. No, it is Bret Easton Ellis. 1-800-465-8770 for your text. 1-800-465-8770. When we come back, two stories thematically competing, but also actually competing, because you get to choose which story we discuss. Story number 1. A Florida anesthesiologist says he won't treat Republicans. Or story number 2. A Chicago teacher was placed on leave after posting on Facebook supporting ICE. Which one should we discuss? 1-800-465-8770 for your texts.
Is it time to get your home sold? Nick Southard with Upgrade Realty here. Selling hundreds of homes for over 25 years has taught me presentation is everything. Picture amazing photography, designer staging, and maximum exposure. With my luxurious marketing, you'll sell fast at top dollar and save thousands in fees for just 1% listing commission. To learn more, visit upgraderealty.com. Upgrade your listing for 1%. Upgraderealty.com.
Belize it or not, there's sunshine waiting for you in Belize. Win a free 7-day stay, including round-trip airfare from Seattle to Belize, and stay at the Flower World-owned Belizean Resort. Check out MayaHeights.com for rules and to enter for a chance to win. Maya Heights Resort, a beautiful restaurant, resort, 1,000-acre farm, and views to enjoy on the terrace in paradise. Belize will provide the warmth and adventure while Flower World provides the trip. MayaHeights.com, your gateway to Belize. From Flower World.
Hey, it's John Curley with Dr. Kopstein from K2 Vision RLE. Doc, I heard that 50% of Americans have their lenses replaced by the time they're 75.
That's exactly right, John. As we near 50, our eye's natural lens starts to become dysfunctional. If you've now added readers to your need for glasses and contacts, it's a sign the quality and function of your natural lens is fading, and it's a steady decline towards cataracts.
Don't go another 20-plus years with poor vision, hassling with contacts and readers. Do what I did. Choose a quick, painless refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision RLE and start enjoying great vision now.
Our new lens technology is truly amazing. After replacing over 100,000 lenses, we have the experience to guide each patient to their best solution, even if that's recommending you wait a little while before RLE.
K2 Vision RLE can restore distance and near vision permanently, plus never develop a cataract. Read the reviews and schedule a free Zoom consultation now at k2visionrle.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
This year's tax changes. Better not get caught snoozing. Miss one deduction, lose thousands. Not amusing.
Big tax changes can mean bigger refunds at Jackson Hewitt. And right now, get $100 just to try us.
Don't worry, tax filers. If money is tight, get $100 from Jackson Hewitt, so you'll sleep better at night.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Febreze.
New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
You pick the topic on the Jason Rantz Show.
Indeed you do, and you're curious about the staff member, a teacher in the Chicago area, who's now on administrative leave and is facing calls to lose his job because on Facebook, he actually supported ICE. The teacher at West Chicago's Gary Elementary School said, "Go ICE." He was just talking about ice cubes. He was just like, I'm sick and tired of this beverage. It's room temperature.
He's like, I was recently in Europe and they don't really have ice over there. And
It's like, have you ever tried to you order an iced tea and they don't even know what you're talking about? It's very confusing. Shortly after the post was made, according to the New York Post, activists in the predominantly Hispanic community quickly began sharing the post and calling for action to be taken against the teacher. Now, it's in the New York Post. It was actually a Fox News story. They're not naming him because of his safety concerns, and they're right not to name him. He wrote in one post, imagine working as a teacher one post responding to his post said, imagine working as a teacher in an elementary school in West Chicago where the Latino community is highly populated and promoting ICE. Sick AF. Another one called him a bleeping piece of bleep. Activists began circulating a flyer online calling for his job and for students to stay home from school in protest, saying, quote, the casual way in which he publicly promoted the actions of ICE in our area is inappropriate and unsuitable for an educator. Now, of course, if he said F ICE, they would be celebrating him and saying, way to go, this is the kind of teacher we're proud of. The flyer said, the best way to show our district that we need action to be taken is to show them that keeping this teacher will disrupt the emotional welfare and therefore the education of our students. Oh, so not whether or not he's a good teacher, but you don't like a political position he took. Now, local leaders got involved, including Karina Villa, an Illinois state senator, who posted a message saying she stands in unwavering solidarity with the families who are upset about the, quote, disturbing comments reportedly made by an educator. She then goes on to say that it is a protected right to say what he said, quote, but as educators, we have the responsibility to our students and their families to create a safe and welcoming environment for all. Would they, this is how you know this is all just bogus nonsense. Would anyone in the community, be upset or as upset? Would they create a flyer and call for this guy's job if he said F ICE? If that was his post? The answer is no. They wouldn't be upset. They wouldn't call for his job. They probably wouldn't even have celebrated the statement because to them, it's just like, well, yeah, of course. You breathe air, you say F ICE. That's normal. So that tells you everything you need to know about these people. That's all you need to know. Now, apparently, because he was about to be investigated, this guy, the update has been that he submitted a written resignation upon learning that he was about to be investigated. How could you investigate him for this? All it said was go ICE. But there's been an update to the update because he's wise now. And unfortunately, the school didn't say no takebacks because they say the employee then withdrew that resignation before the board could approve it, which allowed him to come back to work. Isn't that great? He's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm sick and tired of this. I don't like this, what this says about the district. This is clearly illegal. I resign. And then someone said, dude, you can easily sue them for this. Easily. And what's worse, the union's going to be forced into supporting you. Hurry up. Did they say no takebacks? No, they didn't say any of that. Then take it back quickly.
It's like, psych.
Anytime someone hands me a resignation of any kind, I immediately say no takebacks before I even read it. Like Jackson will walk into my office one day eventually and say, well, time is coming. He'll hand me an envelope. And before he even finishes, I'll say, no takebacks. And then I'll read it. And that's a good way to trick me into something too. Because you can give me something that says like a bill that I owe. And I said, no takebacks. I was like, no, wait, no. Take this back. No, you said no takebacks. This was on you. You're the one who said it. Oh, the superintendent said, the district has obtained legal counsel to conduct an investigation beginning on Monday. The district will share additional information as appropriate. We remain committed to providing safe, caring, and inclusive learning environments for all students. I love this. Again, it is clearly protected speech. It wasn't even controversial speech. It was taking a position that is shared by the majority of this country. I know Democrats want to pretend that that's not the reality. What was the singular issue that Donald Trump ran on, or the biggest issue?
Mass deportations.
Yeah. Did he hide that at any point?
Not at all.
No. So he's just following through with one of his promises, which, by the way, he should be getting credit for because politicians almost never follow through with their biggest promises. He actually is. So this is just so unbelievably silly that they're putting this guy through this. And you know what? Just going through this now, he can sue just for an investigation. And I hope he does. I hope he does. And I hope he bleeds the taxpayers dry to the point where students are forced into having to use textbooks from a decade ago because of how much money they gave him. Yeah, I'm all in.
They'd probably be less woke.
Yeah, exactly. You'll actually maybe get some facts in that. 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages. 1-800-465-8770. Don't forget, we've got a website. It's called SeattleRed.com. News and opinion without any of the left-wing spin. SeattleRed.com.
General Transmission Repair has you and your car's best interest in mind. They're experts at repairing transmissions and can save you money. If you need a second opinion on your car's failing transmission, GeneralTransmission.com or 206-878-5759.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Ugh.
Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax in Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Winter weather means slick roads, darker mornings, and more accidents across Western Washington. If you or someone you care about ends up on the side of the road after a crash, safety comes first. Get out of harm's way, exchange information, and make sure a police report is filed. But then make the most important call you can make. Harold Car Law Offices. That one call can save you time, frustration, and a whole lot of money. After an accident, your job is to heal and get back to your life, your family, your work. It's not to sit on hold with insurance companies or chase paperwork or argue over medical bills. That's what Harold Law Offices does for you. Their 48-person legal team handles the insurance companies, fights for the full value of your claim, and takes the stress off of your plate. They don't get paid unless you do. If you've been in a car accident this winter, remember the name you can trust. Harold Car Law Offices. Car is spelled C-A-R-R. They're online at carlaw.com. C-A-R-R. Carlaw.com. Car accident? Call CAR. And tell them Jason Rantz sent you. Carlaw.com.
Cold is leaking and rats are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
If you need security for your event or business, contact Security Services Northwest. From armed and unarmed officers to advanced remote monitoring, they've been doing it all since 1977. Go to ssnwhq.com for Security Services Northwest.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
The nation's top diplomat in the hot seat. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Secretary of State Marco Rubio before a Senate panel, first tackling questions about the U.S. operation in Venezuela.
Republican Senator Rand Paul grilling Secretary of State Rubio on the capture of now former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
Would it be an act of war?
We just don't believe that this operation comes anywhere close to the constitutional definition of
But
war.
would it be an act of war if someone did it to us?
The Trump administration carried out the operation to capture Maduro without congressional approval, which has received pushback from Paul and congressional Democrats. Republicans have praised the operation to remove a leader the U.S. considers illegitimate and a narco-terrorist.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz on Capitol Hill. On Cuba, Rubio said the administration wants to see regime change, but he did not say whether the administration would force current leaders out. He also gave senators an update on negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, saying disagreements over territory remain one of the last points of contention. The Senate has until Friday to pass a series of spending bills, but there's partisan pushback over funding for the Department of Homeland Security.
Democrats appear close to forcing at least a partial government shutdown over efforts to rein in ICE. Their demands: ending roving ICE patrols, establish a uniform code of conduct consistent with state and local law, including independent investigations into violations, and prohibit federal agents from wearing masks and require them to use body cameras. Schumer already trying to blame Republicans if agencies like TSA go unfunded once again.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. Majority Leader John Thune is calling for senators to pass the series of bills as is. 15 years in prison for the man who plotted to assassinate Iranian journalist Mashi Alinejad at her home in Brooklyn in 2024. Carlisle Rivera got the maximum. America's listening to Fox News.
Sniffles and sneezes got you down? GoodRx is here to help with big savings on commonly prescribed cold and flu meds. GoodRx is free and easy to use. GoodRx is accepted at all major pharmacies like CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens. Just search your prescription, find a coupon, then show your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx is not insurance, but it works whether you have insurance or not. If you do, GoodRx may beat your copay price. Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com to save today.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Folks,
the yellow light! I'm walking here!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here live on Seattle Red 770 AM. We are streaming live on the Seattle Red app. Jay Inslee accidentally admitted that he thinks and Democrats believe that illegal immigrants are voting. Dum Dum put it in a tweet, not realizing what it is that he did. Yeah, welcome back to the world of politics, Jay. We're going to get into that, but first, King County Parks has been handing out millions of dollars to grants or in grants and can't really account for the money. That's what's trending, brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Common Sense Lending.
What's trending in King County?
King County auditors say the county can't show whether much of the money that they handed out in grant funds was actually used the way that it was supposed to. That's a problem. That's a big oops. That's the key takeaway from this audit. Now, we've got a report up at seattlered.com. We actually published yesterday. Everyone else is now catching up today. But the King County Auditor's Office reviewed the Parks Levy Grant Program from several years ago. The program is funded by you guys, me. It was voter approved. It was a property tax. And it distributes money to cities and nonprofit groups for parks, recreation, conservation projects all around the county. But according to the audit, King County Parks failed to track how grant money was being spent after it was given out. They just kind of handed it out. The auditors found that the department often didn't collect sufficient documentation from the grant recipients to verify that the funds were actually used for what it was supposed to be used on. And the documentation, to the extent that it exists, that they did get a hold of, according to the investigator, Mia Neidhart, she told Como TV there were some discrepancies.
There were some gaps in some financial procedures, which means that they're not in a good place to be able to consistently detect and prevent fraud, misuse, those sorts of areas. We could see money was going out the door, but there wasn't the documentation to show, and that money contributed to the goals of the program.
Now, they're careful not to say that they're making any accusations that the money was either stolen or deliberately misused. I don't know if that matters in this context, because you can't tell me that it wasn't, because they didn't do any of their due diligence on how the money was spent, or at least not enough sufficient due diligence. And that, to me, is a big scam. Maybe they come back and like, hey, see, look, we spent all the money that we were supposed to spend in the way that we were supposed to spend it. Yeah, sorry, right now I'm assuming all of that is nonsense, that it is all stolen. I don't care if you don't have the proof. You don't have the proof that it wasn't stolen. And when it comes to my tax dollars, when it comes to your tax dollars, we should know that our tax money isn't being stolen or misused. That doesn't seem like a unreasonable position to take. Quite the opposite. It seems rather reasonable. Now, one of the central problems identified in this audit was a lack of standardized monitoring. A lot of the grant recipients were supposedly, according to this audit, allowed to self-report spending with almost no follow-up. And this report found inconsistent enforcement of reporting requirements and limited documentation showing that staff working for the county even reviewed, let alone verified, how the funds were used. Ben Thomas is with the auditor's office. He also spoke with Como.
Without that more rigorous financial documentation, it's impossible for either parks or us to really understand if that money was spent appropriately.
I mean, it's so bad that King County Parks didn't have clear internal procedures for monitoring the grants. Now, how does this happen? It's actually really simple. It's not because it's too hard. It happens because they don't care. That's why this happened. They don't care how the money is spent. To them, their only goal is to give out money. Now, some of them don't care how the money is spent, period. Others just simply trust that the money will be spent in an appropriate way. They hand it out to politically convenient nonprofit organizations that back the politicians who make the decisions to hand out the money to begin with. That's the reality. That's the truth. They want to pretend otherwise. They can all they want. But this was part of all the equity nonsense that was going on. Oh, we're going to give it to an organization that helps underprivileged youth in the BIPOC community have access to fishing. Okay, how's the money spent? Fine. Where was it spent? Oh, I'm fishing. Was it even spent in the county? A county. They just don't care. They just hand it out. This is pathetic, and it should be a huge scandal, and everyone should be talking about this. And yet, instead, you'll get some news coverage, and kudos to the news outlets that covered this, but the politicians aren't doing anything in response. The only ones who ever talk seriously about this are the Republicans, or if a Democrat is trying to get some good press because they're running for something. And so Reagan Dunn, a Republican council member who screams about this all the time, He's been consistent, and he shows this is yet another audit showing a disturbing trend in the county.
We have got to do a far better job in terms of demanding accountability, measuring the outcomes for those programs. I continue to see a pattern within King County where the people's tax dollars aren't being appropriately granted out into the community in ways that the public can trust they're being used for good.
Now, he says it's a pattern, but yes, that's correct. It is a pattern. But it's a design feature, I would argue. It's more than a pattern. A pattern indicates that things are kind of just happening and now you're sensing things. No, this is by design. It's supposed to be seen as a pattern. It's by design. We've got the full report over at seattlered.com. I hope you'll check it out. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? What a dumb tweet.
Former Washington governor turned Idaho frequent visitor, Jay Inslee, he is jumping back into the spotlight. He got a little lonely. And so he decided to jump into the mix with some fear-mongering about ICE. But he made a mistake. He stumbled into saying the quiet part out loud. And I am near certain he did not intend to reveal what he revealed. It's now viral, the post. It got a lot of attention nationwide, which delivers Jay Inslee something he's been craving, which is just some attention. And by the way, I don't even say that mocking him. I get that. If you were in the limelight, if you're important, then all of a sudden completely forgotten. When was the last time anyone said the name Jay Inslee? The only time it comes up is when we talk about the Climate Commitment Act's failure, and then in passing we say his name, and then we immediately just go back to Democrats who are currently in charge. I mean, when was the last time you thought of Jay Inslee? I had that nightmare the other day, but that was...
I mean, the only time is when I'm at the gas pump. But
yeah, that's it. And so he's all like, no, that's not fair. And so he demanded that Congress take emergency action to keep ICE away from one particular spot. I'm going to read to you the tweet. And again, this is at seattlered.com. In the midst of ICE horror, the Senate needs to prohibit Trump from using ICE as a voter suppression tool. Senate Dems need to put into the appropriations bill a prohibition on ICE agents being near polling places. This is a must-have. Last chance to do this. So, let's think about this for a moment. That is not a warning about optics as much as it is an accusation. Jay Inslee is claiming that federal immigration enforcement somehow might suppress votes because ICE could exist near a polling location. Now, last time I checked, only U.S. citizens can legally vote. So who exactly does Inslee think would be intimidated by ICE near a polling station? Can someone explain this to me? I read it a couple times wondering if I was missing something. And then I said to myself, well, it is Jay Inslee. There's no way I'm missing anything. Certainly nothing thoughtful or deep in this tweet.
He's an enigma wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in a riddle.
Yeah, it's like, no, not this guy. Although I suppose you can use that explanation or you can use that saying to explain how people fell for this so long by reelecting him so many times. But no, if ICE near polling places is a problem, isn't he implicitly arguing that the people vulnerable to immigration enforcement are showing up to vote, and the people who are vulnerable to immigration enforcement are illegal immigrants? That's not a conservative talking point that I'm using here. That is an unavoidable conclusion to his own logic.
You said it.
He's the one who said it. I didn't say this. If I said this alone, I'd be accused of lying about voter integrity issues. In fact, I would be scolded. Illegal immigrants don't vote. They don't vote. They don't get Medicare. They don't get school services. They don't even get IDs. Wait, they get all those things. Apparently, they also vote. Because for years, we've been told there's zero chance that illegal immigrants are voting anywhere. And he's, by the way, not even talking about Washington. He's talking nationwide. We don't have voter polls. We're a mail-in voter state. So he's talking about polling locations around the country. So it's not even just in Washington where he thinks this is happening. He just blew a hole straight through his own party's argument about election integrity concerns are all paranoid and based in conspiracies. He frames this as an emergency action without offering any evidence or any cases or any pattern of ICE targeting any voters. So I can't even look at any of these cases and say, oh, he's talking about this. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? If not illegal immigrants voting. Well, sometimes I have my illegal immigrant housekeeper driving me to the polls to vote. And now she won't go within a mile and a half of a polling location.
I'm not driving myself. Ugh.
I don't even have a driver's license anymore. I haven't driven myself since 1996. What seriously? Could you? I hope they do. I hope they try to put that into the appropriations bill. I pray that they do, because they're just telling on themselves. That's it. They're going to tell on themselves. I am all for it. You think there's someone in the Senate who's dumb enough to put that into the appropriations bill or try to put it in there? Mazie Hirono?
Yeah,
Ruben Gallego?
Yeah.
Chris Murphy?
Yeah, they got a lot of dum-dums over there.
They have an unusual number. We have some of our own. We do. It's okay. We can acknowledge that, but we don't have nearly as many as they do. And if you include folks on the House side of things, they win that 10 times out of 10. Dear God.
Does Hank Johnson still think that Guam is going to tip over?
Didn't it tip over the other day? Too many people got to one side. He's going to do a song about it. He stopped doing those videos. When was the last time we got a...
I know, I missed those.
They were so bad.
Yeah, they were so bad they were good.
Oh, my God. So this I just thought was funny. If you want to help me shine a spotlight on this, head on over to seattlered.com. If you miss the good old days of bagging on Jay Inslee, this is a great opportunity to do it. seattlered.com. Click on the story. Dear God, he's a dum-dum. But he's our dum-dum. Or Idaho's.
Unfortunately.
Well, he could be Idaho's dum-dum, too.
Yeah.
Oof. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? The economy.
Boeing had a pretty strong quarter, but it's not as strong as people need it to be. In fact, it's being framed as lifting spirits, but the turnaround for Boeing is not complete. And obviously, they need a turnaround since some of the controversies of, parts of their plane being all like, I would prefer not to be connected mid-flight, and then just exploding off of the plane. Boeing reported a great fourth quarter, no doubt, and it surpassed expectations coming from Wall Street. But they're still in their recovery mode. Como says this marks the strongest quarter of airplane delivery since 2018, providing a positive outlook for the aerospace giant and those who depend on it, from employees in cities like Everett to suppliers and small businesses. Kara Yam says her Mukilteo business, Poke Pico or something, it's a poke place, relies heavily on Boeing, telling Como they need to do well so I can serve them some of my raw fish.
This is the good news for us. Excited because we want everyone to have a job, that the business much more better for us, because this is just a family business.
Now, this is what we talk about, like the downstream effects. We talked in the first hour, and we'll talk in the next hour about Amazon laying off some 16,000 additional employees. And it's not so much that it's just about the taxes that are not going to be paid if they were to move, and the payroll taxes that don't get paid because there's no more payroll for them. It's that they're not going to that poke place. They're not going to the dry cleaners. They're not going to the coffee shop or the florist. They're not going to the hotel to have an affair with their assistant anymore. They're not spending that money at these local businesses. And in this case, Poke, whatever, they have zero control over Boeing. But Boeing has a ton of control over them. Because if, God forbid, Boeing were to go through significant layoffs, or just pretend Boeing left, they're just done. All their warehouses or manufacturing locations in Everett, Renton, wherever, just gone. Well, Poke, Pocoe, or whatever, they don't exist anymore. They don't survive that. they survive like so many of these other businesses, and sometimes they're still barely surviving, but they only survive because of the big employers. And when the employees are no longer there, when they're no longer spending money, it has some real impact. So it's good to see that they had such good numbers. But as an aviation expert named Scott Hamilton pointed out, Boeing's definitely not out of the woods yet.
Boeing has a long ways to go. They are reducing the losses, but they are still losses over at the Boeing Commercial Airplanes and at the defense. So we need to see how long it's going to take for that North Line to ramp up to at least another 5 airplanes.
For Yem and her husband, who are also aviation buffs, Boeing is
I'm guessing you didn't mean to keep that part in.
I just love Michelle Esteban.
more than about their bottom line.
Because you love her so much, and that was definitely not an editing error that I called it.
Not at all, no.
Even though I could have just stopped and hit the dump button and no one would have heard your sloppiness. But I feel I run a tight ship, apparently not tight enough. And so you know what's going to happen after the show today, right? Get the ruler. Have Duncan get the paddle. By the way, when we talk about how good they did fourth quarter, I mean, it's really good. Their year-over-year sales surged 60%. Revenue rose to over $23 billion, and before that it was almost $15.5 billion. They added 160 commercial deliveries in the fourth quarter compared to 57 in the same period the year before. They say on top of that, we brought you the story. He just kind of mentioned the North Line. You know, they're adding the new 737 assembly line in Everett, and that's just really good news. So we want them to succeed. Also because, you know, I'm usually in, although I think the last few planes I've been on from Delta were Airbuses. So, you know, I'm maybe a little bit less nervous. But when I'm getting into a plane and it's a Boeing, I like it to stay in the air. I'd like things not to fall off.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want the emergency door to fly
right?
off.
I've already got to worry about the pilot, who accidentally took some shrooms the night before, tripping in the cockpit. I already got to worry about that. I don't need to worry about the wings falling off or engines not being connected. And so I will say, there was a time last year, or whenever this happened, 2 years ago, it's been a while now. Whenever that happened, there was a time where I was like, I'm feeling a little nervous on this plane. Because they had a few, and in fairness to Boeing, some of the issues that they had nothing to do with Boeing. It wasn't a Boeing issue. But there were some issues in Portland that happened right afterward. I think there was one in Chicago or something. I can't remember. I was like, oh my God, this is not good branding for Boeing right now. And I can imagine someone saying, I don't want to fly in a Boeing plane, but obviously we can imagine someone saying, we're not going to buy a Boeing plane. Mm-hmm. And they did course correct. I don't know to the extent that the cultural shifts fully happened. Yeah, I don't know. This whole, we got to get stuff out first, even if it's not perfect. I hope they address that part immediately.
It seems like a year, 2 years ago-ish, we had just a huge string of air disasters. It was crazy.
Every single day almost, there was something. And in fairness, I think because of some of the things that happened, media was immediately covering it in a big way, whereas maybe these things happen all the time, like a plane bumping into one another on a tarmac at SeaTac. It happens once. It's like, oh, wow. And then it happens again somewhere else. You're like, oh, do you remember it? And then it happens a third time. I was like, no, this happens all the time. So I don't know if there's some of that going on, but I was definitely nervous until I realized I was getting on Airbuses. And then for whatever reason, I was thinking the French got me protected, but the French, I don't trust them.
They know how to make a plane.
Do they, though? I don't know. I feel like I trust Americans way more than I would ever trust a Frenchman.
The Europeans are lazy.
Until, we need a siesta. Or whatever the version is in France. Oh, we go get a croissant. We're going to take a break and get another croissant.
They work
weirdly, they're not all fat.
25 hours a week or something.
No. We think it's bold to do 32-hour work weeks. They're like, 32 in a week? We barely make that in a month. Why do you work so hard over there? Well, look at our economy and look at yours, stupid. That's why. Our economy is way stronger than the French.
And we pay for all your defense. But
I know. Oh, my God. Yeah, but do you have croissants like we do? Probably. I don't know. I went to Paris, and number one, I was very underwhelmed because it felt like I was visiting a movie set. Because of all the cities European cities that are really well known because of pop culture, it's Paris.
Well, it's the most visited city in the world, I think, right?
Is it? I don't know. I thought New York was, but maybe it's Paris.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Maybe international city for us. Fine. But everything looked like it looked in the movies, and it just felt weird. And I went and I got, what did I get? Falafel in the Jewish Quarter.
Uh-huh.
And it made me violently ill. And I remember in my Airbnb, I was so sick, and I was getting like the sweaty vomit sickness. I was like, I got to go somewhere and get something. So I went wandering around looking for a pharmacy, and they have drugstores that are like ours here, except they don't actually sell drugs in them. They look like a pharmacy, and they've got signage that indicates it's a pharmacy. Then you get in, you're like, I need something for my stomach. I'm nauseous. Kisapa. What is this? Like, I'm like, what are you talking? They don't know what I'm talking about. And then I look on the shelves, and it's all like moisturizer. They don't have, I couldn't find anywhere to get like anti-nausea pills. And finally, I got something that was the equivalent of Pepto-Bismol. But by then, I had been sick for so long, it just passed. I didn't even need it. And I just remember like deliriously walking around I think it was the Marais district, I think it's called. Just like, where am I? Like, I think I was hallucinating.
See, socialized medicine, not so great, is it?
Nope. No, in fact, now that I recall, I might have been hallucinating so much, I wasn't even in Paris. I might have been in Prague. 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages. We come back. Walla Walla Sheriff Mark Kreider, he is sounding the alarm. Sheriff's departments in this state are about to be dramatically changed courtesy of Democrats. We'll explain when we return on Seattle Red, 770 AM.
Nick, did you know this is called quit time? Did you know what that is?
I do not know.
That means right about this time of the year, people quit their New Year's resolutions.
Oh, kind of like last year.
Okay, never mind. The important thing is that both of us made a New Year's resolution that we would take better care of ourselves for each other. And we're holding to that.
We are not flaming out because...
Longevity Medical Clinic. So we get the support of Longevity. We told them what our goals were, and they're like, absolutely, we'll get you in line. So they support me, they support you, and then as a couple, they're making us accountable for the decisions we make. So we're not going to be quitting on these things. I can't remember what your New Year's resolution was around the house.
My New Year's resolution around the house was that I was going to try to get you to start putting things away.
And I was going to get you to actually learn how to cook a piece of chicken.
Oh, well, that's for next year.
Okay, fine. Either way, we've got a team behind us. Do what Nick and I have done. Take a free health analysis at lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Protect your valuables, firearms, jewelry, documents, metals. Make sure you're protecting it with a safe from Northwest Safe. Family owned and operated since 1988. nwsafe.com is the website. Their facility is based in Enumclaw, and you step foot into that space and you're looking around, you're like, whoa. They know what it is they're doing. They've got the best of the best. They're an exclusive Liberty Safe dealer, and you find out rather quickly, not only are those the best safes made in America, built tough, the most trusted name in the safe industry, but you realize you get better pricing and exclusive rebates. And they've got everything in stock ready to go. And it doesn't stop when you make your purchase. They have the best in-home delivery. They've got you covered upstairs, downstairs, bolted into your basement floor. There's no problem for the folks over at NW Safe. Now, if you want to purchase everything online, do everything online, awesome. They've got you covered there too. Not only can you go to nwsafe.com, but they will do a personal video walkthrough to help you find the perfect fit. nwsafe.com, Northwest Safe in Enumclaw, or give them a call, 1-888-404-SAFE, 888-404-SAFE.
Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and bored babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers, the #1 wiper blades in America.
This year's tax changes. Better not get caught snoozing. Miss one deduction, lose thousands. Not amusing. losing.
Big tax changes can mean bigger refunds at Jackson Hewitt. And right now, get $100 just to try us.
Don't worry, tax filers. If money is tight, get $100 from Jackson Hewitt so you'll sleep better at night.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Jason Rantz Show.
All right, let's break it down with Seattle radio host and author Jason Rantz.
Jason, if I didn't know you, my first question would be, do you make these stories up?
No, they accepted this proposal.
I guess it's a measure of how much they really don't like Trump, isn't it?
Long form.
Washington Democrats are pushing through a bill, 5974, which would be a sweeping overhaul of the law, how it governs sheriffs and police chiefs. It tightens eligibility requirements. It offers extensive mandates on background checks for people who would become sheriff and police chiefs. It requires law enforcement leaders to maintain certification or automatically lose their jobs, which is a roundabout way to allow Democrats to simply remove people from the position of sheriff simply because they don't like them, simply because they disagree with them politically. Now, the supporters say, oh, no, this is about modernizing accountability and standards across the state of Washington, but most of us recognize it for what it is. This is intended to centralize power with Democrats in Olympia and restrict law enforcement. Joining me on the line to discuss is the Sheriff of Walla Walla County, Mark Kreider. He's also the president of the Washington State Sheriff's Association and a retired FBI special agent and former naval officer. So he's got a lot of experience. Sheriff, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Do you have any doubt as to what this particular bill is truly all about?
No, I think you're exactly right, Jason. In fact, when we sat down with a couple of the legislators that authored this bill, we asked for a problem statement. I'll tell you, currently in the state of Washington, there is not a sitting sheriff that is not a certified Washington peace officer. So there is no current problem with what we're trying to do. We're trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist.
Well, there's some irony, I think, in, and maybe you can speak to this, but Patty Cole-Tyndall, who's the current sheriff in King County, she's the only appointed sheriff in the state of Washington, had to go through certification after she was appointed. Or recertification.
Yeah, Patty chose... Yes, there are actually two sheriffs, one elected, one appointed. Patty is the appointed sheriff. Sheriff Garcia in Pacific County, I believe it's Pacific. I always get them mixed up. But he also was not a certified Washington peace officer, and he chose to go through the academy and get certified as a peace officer. I can tell you when I got elected sheriff, there was a big argument between myself and CJTC as to whether or not I needed to go back through the Washington Academy in order to obtain my peace officer certification, because CJTC didn't recognize the FBI as a law enforcement entity.
So where do you think this is all coming from? You point out that this is addressing a problem that doesn't actually exist, and yet there's all these other aspects to this particular bill that pose significant problems.
Absolutely. I think there's some definite constitutional issues in this bill. For instance, Section 1 of the bill says that the legislature is authorized to prescribe eligibility requirements. There is nothing in the state constitution that says they can do that. They can prescribe duties and fix the term of office. That's exactly what it says in the Constitution. I believe it's, I think it's Chapter 11, Section 5 of the Washington State Constitution talks about that. And it also states in there that the legislature, by general and uniform laws, shall provide for the election of county, and I'm paraphrasing, of county boards of commissioners, sheriffs, clerks, treasurers, prosecuting attorneys, and other, so that if we're going to make requirements on one elected official, the requirements have to be uniform across all elected officials.
What they argue on the left is essentially there are times in which someone who, quote unquote, shouldn't be sheriff ends up in that position, and that could be dangerous. And as you pointed out when you testified to the Senate, there was a recent example out of Benton County in which a sheriff, Jerry Hatcher at the time, was recalled. And obviously you can point to a number of instances in which, you know, the left generally was upset with a particular sheriff, and many times they just don't get reelected.
And I would argue that it doesn't matter whether it's the left or right that is upset with how a sheriff is conducting himself. It's up to the voters that elected that sheriff.
Yeah.
As with any elected official, and the Constitution gives clear and enumerated powers that the voters shall be the ones that determine who governs them. And so if the voters, when I ran for election, I put myself out there, I talked about my training, my experience, my education, and the voters chose to elect me as their sheriff. If they are not happy with the way that I am conducting myself, there is a mechanism. They can file a petition. They can do a recall petition, and they can vote me out of office. Or they can choose to wait until the end of my term and vote me out of office and vote in somebody that they feel is more fitting to what they want their sheriff to do. So there's already a mechanism in place for all this, and this is 27 pages trying to fix something that is in our Constitution in 2 or 3 paragraphs.
And there's some irony in that this bill would make it very easy for, in some cases, just unelected bureaucrats to remove a sheriff from office. Yet, if voters don't like the direction that we're going because of a lawmaker, it's nearly impossible to recall. Like, there's a high bar for a recall to be given an approval by a judge when it comes to just a politician.
Yeah, and there's, you know, our founding fathers, there was a reason for that. They wanted it to be a fairly arduous process to make sure that it was done correctly and done for the right reasons and not arbitrary, which is what this bill is fixing to do. This bill would also make a current sitting sheriff ineligible to run for reelection.
And you're talking about Garcia in Pacific?
Yes, specifically.
We're talking right now to Walla Walla County Sheriff Mark Kreider. He's also the president of the Washington State Sheriff's Association about Senate Bill 5974, which would fundamentally rewrite how we elect sheriffs and how sheriffs operate. It's not just about sheriffs, it's about law enforcement across the board, but the sheriff's offices here in the state would be the most impacted. It doesn't seem like your position and the position of your colleagues is moving the needle when it comes to how Democrats are talking about this. Do you get a different sense? Do you think that they're going to reject this?
No, I think I think it sets a dangerous tone in the state of Washington. You know, given there's a lot of angst from the voters in the fact that they have, you know, like the $30 tabs. That was overturned then by the legislature.
Parents' Bill of Rights.
No state income tax. That was overturned. And I think what you're seeing, if you log on to the legislator's website and you look up 5974, overwhelmingly, almost 90% of the people that took the time to log in, and I can tell you I've been, watching at least law enforcement legislature for a while, there were over 14,000 people that expressed their opinion, and almost 90% of those were against this bill, but yet it is getting pushed through the legislature.
So then what does that tell you about the process? Why even engage at this point if the fix is in and they're just going to ignore folks?
Well, I think we have to be diligent in the fact that I haven't given up hope yet. I'm pretty cynical, but I haven't reached the point yet where I don't believe in the process. And there's, most law enforcement officials are geared towards the process. So we need to work through the process. I think that the legislature needs to listen to the will of the people. That's where they derive their power from, is from the people. They don't give the people power. And they need to listen to what they're saying, and the people are able to govern themselves, and they are the ones that should be electing their officials that govern them.
Do you think the media, generally speaking, has covered this effectively or accurately?
I haven't seen a ton of coverage on it.
I haven't either, by the way. It doesn't seem like, I've seen some, to be clear, but they haven't really covered this at all. And meanwhile, on this show, we're talking about it, a couple times a week at least because of how important it is. And it just seems like no one else is all that interested. Now, some of that is because there's competing issues. It's a shortened legislative session, but it feels like that's what Democrats are taking advantage of.
Well, and I believe this is the fourth year in a row that they have been pushing this legislation. Last year it was 1399. It was introduced in the House. The year before it was that. I think it's been going since 2021 was the first year that this was, it's been massaged year to year, but it's been introduced since 2021 and it's yet to pass. There's a reason it hasn't passed, because it is bad law, period. I shouldn't say that. It would be bad law.
So what can someone who's listening right now who's upset actually do?
I think, number one, they need to reach out to their specific legislators. And I think they also need to reach out to Senators Lovick and Dingra, who are the people that introduced this legislation this year in the Senate, and voice their concern, and that they don't think this is, number one, it's not going to stand up to constitutional scrutiny. I think if it does pass, there'll be a lawsuit and we'll find that it's unconstitutional. There's a lot of provisions in here that kind of circumvent the whole election process.
What's your take on John Lovick? It seems like, given his law enforcement background, he would be more attuned to this, but instead he's using that as cover to give off the impression that this bill has support of law enforcement. And maybe outside of Patty Cole Tyndall, I'm not sure anyone who even supports it. I'm not even sure she supports it.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Patty directly, but I'm sure she wouldn't. Patty, due to her background, when she was elected, she elected to do the right thing, and she went to the academy. She got certified. She's a certified peace officer in the state of Washington. So she did everything in here. And really, the mere fact that they put police chiefs in here is, in my opinion, is smoke and mirrors, because city councils and city managers set the requirements, and they can set whatever requirements they want for a candidate for police chief. So this bill really doesn't affect them in any way.
Yeah. It seems so obvious what it is they're doing. I hope people take you up on your ask. It's a simple ask. Just reach out to your legislators. The reality is, if you're represented by a Republican, they are all opposed to this bill. It wouldn't hurt to go on the record, I suppose. But if you are represented by a Democrat, it is imperative that you speak up. Be civil, but make sure that they understand how serious you take this issue, and let them know that there will be political consequences. You will be doing what you can to make sure that they're defeated when they're up for re-election if they end up backing this. It seems, Sheriff, that this is going to pass. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but we will obviously.
I hope you're wrong too.
We'll be paying attention, and this is going to go in front of a judge. The problem is it'll go in front of a judge in Washington, and they don't always look at the law for guidance on how they rule. Mark Kreider, Sheriff of Walla Walla County. Sheriff, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to come on anytime and talk about this.
Absolutely. You're listening to the Jason Rantz Show. When we come back, we're going to dive into some quick hits right here on Seattle Red, online at seattlered.com.
When you walked through your kitchen this morning, what'd you see? Did it make you happy? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Well, I want to make you happy. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves, whatever you like. We'll help you to create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, time, and expense than to tear out. Stop waiting. For 18 years, we've been honored to serve thousands of happy customers, and we'd love to serve you. Call today and I'll get one of our pros to come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
How about a simple New Year's resolution, one that even I was able to achieve? Reverse the clock on hair loss with Advanced Hair's simple one-day FUE treatment. You'll feel more confident and more youthful when you witness your own natural hair growing into those places that have been balding or thinning for years. I'm surprised and relieved every time I look in the mirror. You need to know what that feels like. From Advanced Hair's breakthrough technology to their highly experienced team, there is no one I would trust more than Advanced Hair Restoration. I experienced their exceptional standard of care firsthand. Your comfort and your results are the top priority of the entire Advanced Hair team. Celebrate this new year with a fuller head of hair and get a free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts. Call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185. Discover what meeting your resolutions could look like with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
The Jason Rantz Show.
Bring in Jason Rantz, Seattle Red 770 AM host, and also SeattleRed.com. Jason, great to have you with us.
Jason, Seattle is just continually ground zero.
Yeah, and this is really the Pacific Northwest is ground zero for all this nonsense.
USA Today is mocking the far left.
The quick hit.
Let's talk about a bill out of Colorado, because on its face, it's going to be presented as this bold and righteous and uber progressive piece of legislation aimed at stopping the abuses of ICE. And it's an idea, or at least it's based on an idea that I've heard be discussed in other blue states and even also on the local level in blue cities. But legally, it is a fever dream. The bill claims to let someone personally sue a federal officer under Colorado state law if that officer is to have violated the U.S. Constitution during some sort of civil immigration enforcement action. Not sue the agency, but to sue the officer specifically. And the intent is to try to create an environment in which a federal officer, an ICE agent, won't actually do their jobs, because they want to be terrified that they will be held personally responsible, could be sued in state court. And the bill actually goes even further than that, because it explicitly says defenses like qualified immunity and sovereign immunity and even the supremacy clause immunity don't apply. Now, that raises the obvious question. Says who? What do you mean it just doesn't apply? You can't get rid of the supremacy clause via a state statute. And yet they are pretending that's exactly what they can do, because they think they'll be able to get this in front of a judge who will give them the thumbs up. But ultimately, of course, this is unconstitutional. And this is where progressives love to pretend that federalism works one way only, that states don't get to unilaterally rewrite the rules of federal power. They don't get to announce by statute that centuries of federal constitutional doctrine are now void because the legislature is feeling, spicy about ICE. That's not how this works. Now, under the supremacy clause, so this is a constitutional issue, federal law is supreme over state law. That's not optional. It's not a suggestion. It specifically exists to stop states from interfering with federal operations that they don't like. Immigration enforcement is one of the clearest examples of an area where the federal government has exclusive authority. In fact, it's the Democrats who say that all the time. They say at the local level, we do not enforce federal immigration, but now you're trying to get in the way of it. And that's where you're going too far. Now, federal officers don't have absolute immunity from everything. That's not how this works. But the rules governing when and how they can be sued are federal rules. Congress gets to decide that. Federal courts can interpret that, but states don't get a veto. There already is a mechanism to sue federal officers for constitutional violation. It's called the Bivens action. I looked this up earlier today. I spent a lot of time on this. And the convenient, or I guess inconvenient part for the activists who are writing this bill in Colorado is that the Supreme Court has been sharply limiting those claims for years. You can go back into 2022, so recently, a case called Egbert. And the court made it really clear that it's not interested in expanding personal liability to federal officers, especially in immigration and border enforcement contexts. And so the solution from Colorado is, okay, fine, we'll just invent our own cause of action, declare federal immunities non-existent, and dare the courts to stop us. But that's legal cosplay. That doesn't mean anything. States can't erase federal immunity doctrines no more than they can repeal federal tax law or nullify federal drug statutes. They have to exist within that context. And so when you've got a state law directly conflicting with federal objectives, especially when it comes to immigration, courts routinely strike it down. The test is actually really, really, really simple, the legal test. Does the state law interfere with the execution of federal policy? And here the answer is very obviously yes. Thus, it is unconstitutional. If this law were allowed to stand, any state that's hostile to a particular federal mission could just open season on federal employees. Imagine for a moment, go to the deepest of deep red states, whatever state it comes to mind. Oklahoma. Just go with Oklahoma for a second. Specifically because they could target EPA agents, right? Couldn't they just say, we're now allowing for EPA staff members to be personally sued if they do something we just don't like? The same way we can do that in red states. You're saying they can do that in blue states targeting ICE? Suddenly, federal officers would need to lawyer up every single time they cross the state line to do their jobs. That's not tenable. It's not tenable or constitutional. And that's exactly the chaos the supremacy clause exists to prevent. Now, the people who support this stupid bill, I'm sure will argue state courts have historically heard cases involving federal officers. And that's true, but only when those officers act outside their lawful authority. And this bill doesn't actually require that. It assumes the power to override federal protections even when officers are acting within their duties. And again, that's the intent here, is if you come in and, let's say, by the way, you make a mistake and you accidentally, again, it's a mistake, arrest someone or detain someone who's an American citizen. You are protected, assuming it was a legitimate mistake and it was done in good faith and you did everything you can to ensure that that mistake didn't happen, but it just happened to occur for a variety of reasons. You have general immunity personally as a federal agent. This just assumes that that personal immunity never exists. And that's the fatal flaw in all of this. This bill is not about accountability. It's about deterrence. It's designed to scare federal officers and chill immigration enforcement, weaponize state courts against federal law enforcement. That's the goal here. And it's much easier for them to try to think this is a good idea when they come from a blue state, because they're not thinking about what would happen if a red state did exactly the same thing. And we don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen in red states any more than I want it to happen in blue states. It's wrong. It creates chaos. The problem is that the states don't get to sabotage federal policy just because they don't like it. And that is the same reality for Republicans or red states. So yeah, this bill is completely dubious. Not politically, legally. Politically, I get what it is they're doing. I don't think it's going to work, but I understand what they're doing. The reality is legally, this invites a constitutional challenge immediately. And if history is any guide, a federal court's going to step in immediately and remind Colorado lawmakers of a very basic principle that states don't outrank the Constitution. You can pass a bill declaring gravity optional. That doesn't mean you get to float. That's not how this works. 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages. 1-800-465-8770. You're listening to The Jason Rantz Show. Check out SeattleRed.com for news and analysis without any of the left-wing spin. SeattleRed.com.
Finally, conservatives in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest have a home dedicated to local news.
Seattle, Portland.
Conservative analysis and opinion.
Minimum wage restrictions, they're hit hard.
A new experience for Seattle's conservative movement. Tell your conservative friends about it. The all-new SeattleRed.com.
You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/plan for 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical,
There's no beating CM Heating.
Believes it or not, Flower World is giving away sunshine.
Win a 7-day Belizean getaway for two at Flower World's very own Maya Heights Resort. Visit MayaHeights.com to win. The trip includes round-trip airfare from Seattle to Belize, 10% off dining and tours, and views stretching from the rainforest to the sea. Leave the umbrella at home with the rain. They'll provide the warmth. Enter at MayaHeights.com, your gateway to Belize. From Flower World, a world of flowers, plants, and a whole lot more. Spring is right around the corner, but the perfect time to start your outdoor project is right now. Natural Design Landscaping has been serving Seattle and the East Side for nearly 30 years. They design, build, and maintain stunning outdoor spaces, from full makeovers to weekly maintenance. Beat the spring rush and get your yard project started today. Mention Seattle Red and get 10% off your first service. Visit naturaldesignlandscape.com to schedule your consultation. Natural Design Landscaping, let's build something wonderful together.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on Seattle Red, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Is it time to get your home sold? Nick Southard with Upgrade Realty here. Put my luxurious marketing to work for you and save thousands in fees for only 1% listing commission. Visit upgraderealty.com. Upgraderealty.com.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File today the easy way in the Credit Karma app.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Look, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but if you're a WSU fan and you haven't switched your phone service to Cougs Mobile, you're passing up a slam dunk. Here's the deal. You get exclusive game day perks, and Cougs Mobile contributes to WSU athletics every time you pay your monthly bill. No contracts, no hidden fees, no reason to wait. Switch now to the only phone plan built for Coug fans and on the T-Mobile 5G network. Visit CougsMobile.com. Back at Beasley Coliseum, Washington State, getting ready to take on the Seattle U Red Hawks. Chris King here courtside with Craig Elo. Got our engineer Jerry Kylo and Eggs. It's time now for our opposing team spotlight. Seattle U, it's been a really strong year, but they have been in a little bit of a lull as far as the grand scheme of their season. Yeah, 14-8 overall, but 3-6 in conference play. They started 11-3 on the year. It was Seattle U's best start since the 1966-1967 season. They have a quad one win. They went on the road and beat Stanford. They also beat UW, so they're just one of 3 teams in the WCC. This is good company when you're with Gonzaga and Santa Clara to have a quad one victory. But it seems like recently for Seattle U, their strengths are still their strengths. They're in the top 25 in the nation in blocks per game. They're 34th in the nation in scoring defense. It's hard to get buckets against the Seattle U squad, and they're good at forcing turnovers, which goes into a WSU weakness. But as of late, they've had a really hard time scoring.
They really have, and I mean, when you look at their leading scorer, Braden Maldonado, small guy, but a really fiery guy. He's got really quick, explosive, and decisive moves, and he really hurt us. And I thought wasn't he a 94% free throw shooter? And he shot a lot of free throws against us. So we got to keep him off the line. We got to make him make jumpers and take some of his fire away from him.
Maldonado, 11th in the nation with a 92% free throw percentage.
There you go.
He's 62 for 67 at the line, but of his 5 misses, 2 of them came against the Cougs. So let's see if that continues as a trend, him not putting up the eye-popping numbers.
Yeah, I mean, broadcasting jinx is real. So, yes, we are definitely going to say that he's a 92. He was 94, but 92 is pretty darn good. So...
And with that, Seattle U, they have lost 5 of their last 7. Now, some of that's playing the top of the conference, and anyone's going to have a hard time against Gonzaga and St. Mary's. And 2 of those 7 games coming against Gonzaga. But they also have losses to Portland and Oregon State, which are ones that they would like to have back. And really, a lot of it just comes down to their inability to score. They lost 56-54 their last time out, which was on Thursday. Braden Maldonado did his part. He scored 20 points. That's one player scoring 20 of Seattle U's 54 points.
Yeah, and only 19 field goals made by the team in that, and 10 of them were threes. And the 3 is what hurt us, too, over there in Climate Pledge. So we're going to have to defend the three-point line and make them go inside the arc.
And can the Cougs knock down some more threes? Washington State made just 4 3-pointers in that first matchup against Seattle U. It's the rematch here on the Palouse tonight. Washington State hosting Seattle U. We'll take another timeout. When we return, Austin Samuels will have a scoreboard update. Then we'll hear from the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley. Now the starting lineups and tip-off. It's Washington State taking on the Seattle U Red Hawks. This is Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
RV buyers, it's a fact. Valley RV Supercenter is America's #1 volume Jayco store. And as their volume leader, Jayco keeps them supplied with all the models. Let's just say they have what you're looking for. Jayco Class A, B, and C motorhomes, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and travel trailers, including the best-selling trailer in the world since 2005, the Jayco J-Flight. And they all come with the best warranty in the industry. Go see them in Kent or visit ValleyRVSupercenter.com, where journeys begin.
Hampton and Pullman is just a short drive from the Wazoo campus.
they've got you covered for all your lodging and dining needs with the new addition of their on-site bar and restaurant, Crimson Bar and Bites. You will feel right at home with their spacious rooms, famous Hampton waffles, cozy outdoor patios, Cougar gift shop, and the friendliest staff in town. Visit HamptonByHilton.com to reserve a room for your next trip to the Palouse. Coug owned and Coug managed. It matters where you stay. Hampton and Pullman. Hilton for the stay.
Cougs, to lead in the new Pac-12, we have to attack this together. Name, image, and likeness, NIL, is essential. It's how our programs recruit, retain, and elevate our student athletes who don the crimson and gray. And now, you can directly support WSU NIL through our Cougar Athletic Fund. A tax-deductible gift to our Sport Excellence Funds powers WSU's NIL efforts, all in one place. Visit WSUCougars.com and select NIL in the drop-down menu to learn more. Go Cougs!
This winter, you don't need to know how to slalom, land a triple axel, or pull off a McTwist 1260, whatever that is, to get to the podium. The only physical feat required is getting off the couch for Northern Quest's $60,000 podium payout. Play daily with your Camus Rewards card to enter. Plus, earn 4 times entries every Tuesday, and you could take home $25,000 on January 29th with absolutely no cardio. The podium payout, only at Northern Quest.
Time now to check scores from across college basketball. Brought to you by Coors Light. Choose chill. Proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly.
Welcome back to the Coors Light Cougar Courtside Show. Washington State and Seattle U about to get it on at Beasley Coliseum here in Pullman. The Cougs looking to get back to 500 in West Coast Conference play with a win. Austin Samuels with you, your pregame for a scoreboard update. We start first with the Washington State women, who aren't in action tonight, but they've got a big road test tomorrow. They'll take on Santa Clara, who is tied for second right now in the WCC. Tip-off tomorrow night is at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Looking at the WCC slate tonight on the men's side of things, Tyler Johnson and his San Diego Toreros are squaring off with Pepperdine in Malibu tonight. Johnson leads the West Coast Conference in scoring during conference play, averaging over 20 points per contest. That game is live right now. Pepperdine has a narrow lead at home, 12-11 early, 14 minutes left in the first half. Pacific has won back-to-back games. They are currently tied for fourth in the WCC. They're at home tonight to battle with Portland, the Pilots, who is Washington State's next opponent. They'll square off with them on Saturday here in Pullman. That game between Pacific and Portland tips off tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Oregon State and Loyola Marymount are both on losing skids right now, and they'll both look to get right tonight when they collide in Los Angeles. Tip-off there set for 7 p.m. Pacific time. The nightcap is a good one in the WCC tonight. San Francisco, who is tied for fourth, will match up with Santa Clara, the team tied with St. Mary's for second place right now, only behind Gonzaga in the WCC. That game will be played in Santa Clara. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. Pacific time. We've alluded to the standings a little bit, but let's take a look at what the West Coast Conference standings look like right now coming into tonight. Gonzaga, the top of the mountain right now, still 9-0. They're riding a 14-game win streak. Not in action tonight. They'll play St. Mary's on Saturday. They're ranked 6th in the country. Santa Clara and St. Mary's both tied for second right now. Santa Clara does have the tiebreaker because of a head-to-head win over St. Mary's a couple of weeks ago. They are both 8-1. Pacific and San Francisco tied for fourth right now at 5-4. And then it's the Cougs all alone right now in 6th place at 4-5. A win would get them back to 500 in league play. Then it's a log jam at 3-6. 7th place, there are 4 teams tied right now. Portland, Oregon State, Seattle U, and San Diego. Those teams all tied for 7th place. Then it's Loyola Marymount and Pepperdine, who the Cougs knocked off on Saturday in the basements. Washington State and Seattle U here from Pullman. When we come back, our Chris King will be with the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley, to talk about this matchup. You're listening to Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Okay, text from the wedding planner. She's talking about a cake pop mural.
Ah, exciting.
Ooh, it's $8,000.
Oh.
I don't know, we're trying to save for a house.
Well, you only get married once. Or twice. 3 times tops.
There's a lot of bad money advice out there. For knowledge you can trust, come to Gisa Credit Union. Whether it's saving for the wedding or everything that comes after, we can help get you where you want to be. Find a healthier approach to money at Gisa.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
If we know anything about Cougs fans, it's that a win isn't all you're hungry for on game day. So Northern Quest has a full lineup of restaurants and lounges ready to face any appetite. Cheer on your Cougs with craft beer and cocktails in front of Epic's 10 by 30-foot screen. Grab a steak at Maslow's, a fine cigar at Legends of Fire, or tackle a burger at Fat Burger, before it tackles you. Full menus at northernquest.com. Go Cougs!
A mission that matters. A place to grow. Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories is an internationally recognized designer and manufacturer of products that protect and control electric power systems worldwide. Employees are problem solvers, inventors, and doers. At SEL, you can support a mission that truly matters and create a career that maximizes your full potential. Apply to join the growing SEL team today at selinc.com/careers.
Time to learn about the cold, hard facts for today's game with head coach David Riley. Presented by Coors Light. Choose chill. Proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. Now, with David Riley, here's Chris King.
Coach, here we go. Round 2 with Seattle U. The first meeting with the Red Hawks. The Cougs were held to a season-low 55 points in that loss. You emphasize how stingy Seattle U's defense was going into that game, and the Red Hawks lived up to it. What's it going to take today to get more production from the offense against Seattle U?
Well, I think that their pressure really bothered us at their place, and I think that kind of threw our percentages off, and we got rattled a little bit. And you can even see the free throw percentage was one of our worst of the season, and so I think just having poise, being able to handle the pressure, string a couple passes together, it's always easier to do that when you play with pace and get stops. And so I think handling their pressure is a big piece of that. Playing with pace is a big part of handling that pressure. And then, we got to guard these guys. This is a game that we did play pretty good defensively for stretches. We had a bad end of the first half, but I think guarding the balance and finishing plays without fouling is a huge key to this game as well. Stringing
those passes together, something you mentioned there. The Cougs in that last game had 20 assists, and it was a lower number against Seattle U. It's nice to have that momentum of coming off of a performance where the team not only put up a lot of points, but had 20 assists.
Yeah, it's kind of what we talked about this season with our team is that we've had stretches where we're really good offensively. We've had stretches and games where we're really good defensively. That Portland-Seattle U stretch on the road, we were pretty dang good defensively in both games, and I think that's something that we got to bottle back up and go get. But offensively, the last 2 games, we've been catching some more rhythm, and I think we just got to make sure that we're able to do that with the extra pressure that Seattle puts on us.
For Seattle U coming into this game, they've lost 5 of their last 7. Now, some of that, they've played top teams in the conference. With that as well, their losses against Oregon State and Portland are probably games that they would like to have back. It seems like when they've struggled, they've been quieter offensively. What's it going to take to, again, keep them with a lower point total when it's all said and done here?
Well, I think the big part of that is guarding the bounce. They break down into a lot of dribble drive stuff, and they do a great job playing off 2 and finding cutters. So I think we can guard their first actions, and we got to be able to guard the dribble drive. As far as the first actions, they just had a lot of wide pins, and they try to get their shooters open off those wide pin downs, and so we got to be able to fight through screens.
What else haven't we touched on that you think is going to be especially crucial, and what is an important conference game here tonight for the Cougs?
Yeah, I think us being consistent for 40 minutes is a big key for us. I thought we had a couple stretches defensively versus Pepperdine that were great. We had a pretty good offensive game for about 35 minutes versus them as well. Got a little careless down the stretch, but I think just finding ways to be consistent with the guard and the bounce, be consistent with handling their pressure and playing with pace, be consistent with rebounding the ball and finishing those plays on the offensive glass. So we got to have a 40-minute game to beat a good team like CLU.
Appreciate the time as always. Best of luck here tonight.
Go Cougs.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
When putting in a tree or fence post, we all hate it when our shovel hits a big rock. But there are worse things to come across, like a natural gas or electric line. Nowadays, buried utilities are everywhere, some just below the surface. That's why it's the law to call 811 before you dig, to have your lines marked ahead of time. It's free for Avista residential customers. So call 811 2 business days before you dig. You need time to pick out that perfect shrub anyway. Avista, we just want you to be safe.
Brown family honors the legacy of founder Andrew Brown's late grandfather, William Bittner Brown. Every decision made from farm to glass reflects their commitment to premium Northwest wine and spirits. Whether you're visiting one of Brown's tasting rooms or opening a bottle in your own home, Andrew and his wife, Courtney, welcome you to their extended family where good friends, good food and wine, and good times are always on the agenda. Stop by one of our tasting rooms, Spokane, Walla Walla, Seattle, Bellevue, Tacoma, or Portland, and get 20% off a glass this season when you mention WSU.
Get game day ready at Rosars. Rosars is a proud sponsor of WSU Athletics and your headquarters for keeping snacks stocked up for game time. You'll find the largest craft beer selection, local and imported wines, and all the makings for your favorite cocktails. And while you're there, stock up on your favorite deli snacks, pizza, rotisserie chickens, and ribs. Don't just watch the game, experience it with your favorite game time foods. Get game day ready at Rosars.
Courtside at Beasley Coliseum, Washington State hosting Seattle U right now. David Riley and Chris Victor saying hello to each other. The fifth-year head coach for Seattle U and the second-year head coach for WSU. They were previously assistants together at Eastern Washington, so they know each other well. And that's going to be a theme Saturday. The Cougs host Portland, 3 o'clock tip-off. It's a doubleheader. The women will play Gonzaga at 7, so excited to see everyone here at Beasley to cheer on both programs. And when the Cougs play Portland, that's going to be David Riley's former boss and Shantae Leggins who will be going up against. But, Eggs, as we get closer to tip-off here, it's worth noting this is the first conference opponent. The Cougs will be playing twice. This is the second time through the WCC this year.
Yeah, so we go 4 and 5. It could have been easily flipped a few games in there if we would have just had the ability to correct ourselves. And you know, we did correct the ship against Pepperdine, and we're going in the right direction now. I think there's no question we could go 6 and 3. I mean, we still have Gonzaga up in Spokane, and we got St. Mary's coming in here. Both Gonzaga is going to be a tough one, but yeah, I mean, we can beat St. Mary's. I mean, we were close on the road to them, so I would just love to see us get off to a good start for the second half of the conference. By beating these Red Hawks.
With 12 teams in the WCC this year, and it's an interesting transitional year for the WCC because WSU and Oregon State will be playing hoops in the new Pac-12 next year, as will Gonzaga. They welcome in Seattle U, and they'll be welcoming in more members as well next year, but it's a little more bloated than it would be. Because of that, it's not a traditional true round robin. There are 2 teams the Cougs have not seen yet in conference play. They'll play just once in the regular season. That's Santa Clara, and they've established themselves. And it seems like no worse than the third team in the conference, at least at this point in the season. They might be the second best team in the conference. There's a case to be made that them and St. Mary's, who's behind Gonzaga. Cougs will host the Broncos on February 7th. And then Pacific, you talk about a revenge game here tonight. Cougs went 0 for 2 last year against Pacific. They get one regular season crack against them. That's on February 18th. Looking forward to that one. Well, it's time for the national anthem here at Beasley, which means we'll take our final timeout. When we return, it's time for the starting lineups and tip-off. Washington State hosting Seattle U. This is Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Hi, this is Kate Bice, co-owner of Allegra Image 360 on Main Street in Moscow, the one-stop shop for your printing, signage, and marketing needs. After all the nasty winter weather, are your signs looking a little worse for the wear? We can design and install vinyl lettering, standalone signs, banners, graphics, and more. Stop by our Moscow office and see how our talented team at Allegra can help your business look its best for the spring sunshine.
Hi, I'm Andre Gabriel.
I'm Dara Peters.
And I'm Tasia Sniffen. We're cheerleaders on the WC Spirit Squad.
Meet Krista Gross, the realtor who supports students like us with NIL sponsorships and resources to help us succeed.
She's dedicated, relentless, and always puts her clients first, just like a true Coug.
With award-winning service and a passion for helping people, Krista is the ultimate coach for home buyers and sellers.
Support her because she supports us. You can find her online at KristaGross.com. That's Krista with a K, KristaGross.com. Go Coug!
For nearly 100 years, Adams Tractor has helped the Northwest knock out to-do list one tough job at a time. As your local Kubota dealer in Spokane and Lewiston, we're proud to back Washington State athletics with the same grit we bring to every yard, field, and job site. From mowing to digging to plowing, Kubota delivers, and so do we. Visit AdamsTractor.com. Adams Tractor, nearly a century strong, powered by Kubota, fueled by Coug pride.
Okay, text from the wedding planner. She's talking about a cake pop mural.
Ah, exciting.
Ooh, it's $8,000.
Oh.
I don't know, we're trying to save for a house.
Well, you only get married once. Or twice. 3 times tops.
There's a lot of bad money advice out there. For knowledge you can trust, come to Giza Credit Union. Whether it's saving for the wedding or everything that comes after, we can help get you where you want to be. Find a healthier approach to money at Giza.
This is Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Miller dish, Tomas to the basket, left-handed butter, he's got it. Cougs red hot out of the gate.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Coors Light. Choose Chill, proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. It's game time on the Cougar Sports Network. Now, alongside WSU Athletic Hall of Famer and 14-year NBA veteran Craig Elo, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
An opportunity tonight to even the season series against Seattle U. Washington State looking to kickstart and build on the momentum. The Cougs won their last game. It was back on Saturday against Pepperdine. This is game 2 of a 3-game homestand. Washington State really trying to make some hay here, going 4-5 conference play the first time through. This is the beginning of the second half of WCC play for the Cougs. Taking a look at the starting lineups for tonight's game. First for Seattle U, the Redhawks coached by Chris Victor in his 5th year leading the program over there in Seattle. The backcourt, it's a talented one. Malik Arrington joined by Braden Maldonado. Maldonado, the senior, averaging 15 points per game. He led the Redhawks in scoring the first time these two teams met when Seattle U beat WSU 69-55 at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle on December 30th. Then it is Jun Suk Yo, and no stranger to the West Coast Conference. He was at Gonzaga the last 2 years. Here he is in his first season with Seattle U. He's averaging 11 points per game. Will Heimbrot, he is quite the rim protector, 7th in the nation when it comes to blocks per game. The redshirt sophomore averaging 12 points, 5 rebounds per game, 2.6 blocks per contest. And then the 7-footer, sophomore center Austin Maurer, averaging 7 points per game. For the Cougs, the starting 5 for David Riley, second-year coach for Washington State. In the backcourt, it is Jerome Morton, joined by Ace Glass. Glass just named this week for the 3rd time this season, the WCC Freshman of the Week. Glass is the 16th leading freshman scorer in the nation. He's 4th in the WCC in points per game, averaging 12 per contest. Reeve Avers, he had to miss 2 games against Gonzaga and then against San Francisco, out with concussion, but has come back those 2 games since. He has scored 16 in each of the last 2. He's a big factor for Washington State. Emily Yalaho averaging 10 points per game, the junior forward from Finland. And rounding out the starting 5, ND Okafor. ND had his only career double-double eggs in the first matchup with Seattle U.
Yeah, and I mean, he should be able to do that every night for the Cougs. And, his scoring, I would expect him to get 10 rebounds every game. His scoring has improved, and you know what? He's a good free throw shooter now. So he's not afraid to go to the line anymore.
Our officials for tonight's game, referee Greg Nixon, Darren George, and Jason Garrettson. Seattle U in their road black uniforms, black bottoms, black tops. Seattle, small font, red cursive script on the front. The E goes down with an underline in front of Seattle. The numbers in white with the red outline. Cougs in their home white uniforms, white shorts, white tops. Cougars in crimson block lettering on the front. The numbers in crimson and the gray outline of both the numbers and the letters. An opportunity to even the season series. Cougs could move to 500 in conference play. Seattle U had their best start since the 1966-1967 season. This is a team that's lost 5 of their last 7. Here's the opening tip. It is swatted back by Seattle U's Austin Maurer, collected by the Red Hawks. We are off and going here at Beasley, Washington State, hosting Seattle U. Bounce pass to the foul line. Maldonado down low, up and under, finds Maurer, makes the lay-in. Seattle U executes and jumps out to the early 2-0 lead.
Yeah, we were chasing Maldonado behind the screen. Morton was a little late. ND came over to help, and it was his man that got the bounce pass.
Cougs looking down low for Okafor, attempting to get the entry pass, and he's fouled from behind. Way too much contact from Austin Maurer, so Maurer picks up the early foul. 28 seconds into the action, Cougs trail 2-0 to Seattle U. Jerome Morton will inbound it from the baseline. Morton peeking under the hoop. Who will get open for him? Short pass goes to the left block to Yalaho. Begins to dribble, double team. In between the double team, finds Okafor, throws it down with 2 hands. The dunk from ND, and it's tied up at 2 apiece.
Yeah, we get the ball to EY. He gets double teamed. He steps through, and he finds ND because his man was coming to help.
Washington State in the first matchup with Seattle U had just 5 assists the entire game. Here we are, not even a minute into the contest. Cougs have 1. Maldonado finds Arrington. Arrington, less of an offensive threat. Very good at steals and excellent assist-to-turnover ratio. Maldonado, pump fake on the left wing 3. Puts it on the hardwood, then launches it. It is no good. Cougs clean up on the glass. It's Favors who comes away with the miss. Rifles it to Morton. Back over to Favors between the circles. Cougs working around the perimeter. Ace glass off the Andy Okafor screen. Dangerous pass trying to lead ND, and it is out of his reach. Bounces towards Butch. Out of bounds on the baseline. A turnover for the Cougs.
Yeah, the right idea. It was just a little mustard on the bounce pass, and I think ND saw the rotation coming over, so he kind of slowed his gait.
Washington State and Seattle U in a 2-2 tie. Malik Arrington, the Washington native from Auburn, gets into the paint, kick out, corner 3. Maurer takes it, the 7-footer misses it, and Reeve Avers, who's been doing a nice job on the glass, comes down with the rebound for Washington State. Morton wiggles 3. High rainbow pass in the low post to Okafor. Stutter step up, right-handed hook shot. He's got it. Eggs, that's just what you were talking about on the keys to the game. Feeding ND, and it gives the Cougs the 4-2 lead.
Yeah, I think when he gets the ball early in the contest and he's got it going with 2 baskets already, he's a big threat for us.
His only career double-double came against Seattle U. Arrington tries the floater with the right hand from the left side. He's fouled, and he will go to the line. So Arrington, second in the WCC in steals per game. He's in the top 50 in the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio, but he shoots just 30% from the floor, averaging 4 points per game. He's a 70% foul shooter.
He's definitely a facilitator out there more than he is a scorer.
Won a 3A state title with Auburn High School. Here's his first. He swishes it, and the Red Hawks pull within 1. Washington State 4, Seattle U 3. 2 minutes and 2 seconds into the contest here at Beasley. Let's see if he'll make it 3 straight years on different conferences, all conference defensive teams. Next foul shot is good. He was
You want that on your resume?
It's interesting. All defensive team in the Big Sky when he was at Idaho State. Then last year in the WAC at Seattle U, and he could do it this year. Seattle U, their first year back in the West Coast Conference. Dangerous pass. It's Morton. It's taken away by Arrington, and there's contact. Lead to a foul on
ND
Okafor. That's tough because you don't want Okafor to get in foul trouble, and Arrington, such a thorn in the side defensively. So for the Cougs, already with 2 turnovers, and some of those turnovers, the creativity is going to lead to some turnovers, but you don't want the sloppy ones like that was.
No, I mean, that was just spacing between the post and the wing. There was just no spacing, and Arrington's got, quick hands, so you can't throw it by him, above him.
Maldonado begins to drive, step back, won't take the long two for the baseline. Finds Maurer from the WCC logo, steps up, his running lane, no good. ND with the rebound for the Cougs. Washington State, the last time they played Seattle U, had the most rebounds in the game since 1997. Catch and shoot, Vavers three. Reeves got it from the far corner. First triple of the night, and it's Reeve Vavers who delivers. Washington State breaks the tie. Cougs up 7-4.
And when the Ace is running the break for the Cougs, he can penetrate, and then that's going to draw the defense, and you can kick it out to shooters.
Back-to-back 16-point games for Reeve Vavers, and there'll be a hand check foul on Jerome Moore, and that will be team foul number 3 already on Washington State. And here we go, Eggs. It has been almost 3 minutes since Seattle U has made a field goal. That's been their weakness lately. They have lost 5 of their last 7, and they just have not been able to score with the consistency that they would like. Inbounds pass to Maurer. Cross-court dish to Heimbro. Back down low to Maurer, and he airmails him. He had Austin Maurer, and this is no small target. A 7-footer all alone under the basket, and he needed to be Manute Bol, Sean Bradley size to come down with it. It goes out of bounds.
Yeah, you think a 7-footer should be able to catch that, but he was able to get that pass because ND was doubling Maldonado coming off of the screen.
Some full court pressure from Seattle U. Cougs get it across the timeline. Quick strike three. It's Favors again. This time from the left wing. Feeling it early. His dad Morris here. I know you turn around and giving his dad, who's here from Latvia, Morris, a thumbs up.
Yep, he's been here for November, I think. So. Good for him to see his son get to play.
Morris, part of the team right now. Maldonado catch and shoot three, way short. Rebound for Heimbro. Put back lay-in. He's got it 10-6 as Heimbro gets the second chance point. Cougs the 4-point lead 4 minutes into the game. Glass begins to drive. Ace hasn't attempted a shot. Pass almost out of the reach of Yalaho. Gets it back now to Ace corner three. Comes up short. Rebound for Seattle U. Heimbro tiptoeing, just able to stay in bounds. Gets it close to the baseline.
He is an opportunistic player. He's where the ball is at any time. He blocks shots. He's in help side, and he can handle the basketball.
Heimbro tries to cross over Okafor. He'll take a step-back jumper. It's no good. Yalaho boxing out, and there will be a foul called, an appropriate one. Maurer was being boxed out, and he tried mauling Yalaho. Going to be a foul on Maurer. Late whistle, but it's the right one, and that'll take us to immediate timeout.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I like the energy that the Cougs have displayed so far. Before we were kind of just slugging through stuff. Now, boy, it's like payback. They know it.
Washington State, a 10-6 lead on Seattle U. First half, 15 minutes, 37 seconds to play. You're listening to Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
For nearly 100 years, Adams Tractor has helped the Northwest knock out to-do list one tough job at a time. As your local Kubota dealer in Spokane and Lewiston, we're proud to back Washington State athletics with the same grit we bring to every yard, field, and job site. From mowing to digging to plowing, Kubota delivers, and so do we. Visit AdamsTractor.com. Adams Tractor, nearly a century strong, powered by Kubota, fueled by Coug pride.
Around here, it's all-wheel drive all year round, and Toyota has more choices than anyone. Now through February 2nd, get 3.99 APR financing on remaining new 2025 gas-powered RAV4s, or lease a new RAV4 LE with all-wheel drive for $299 a month for 36 months with $39.99 due at signing, with approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. A negotiable dog fee of up to $200 may be added. Call 1-888-48-TOYOTA for details, or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Your audio home for all things Cougar Athletics is the Washington State Cougar Podcast Channel. Just search for Washington State Cougars on your favorite podcast platform to follow and subscribe to the official podcast home of the Cougs. Hear our original WSU Athletics podcast, plus replays from the Cougar Sports Network, including football pregame and postgame show coverage, full football game broadcast, and coaches shows. Find it all by searching for Washington State Cougars on your favorite podcast platform to start listening today.
Game is sponsored by Cougs First. Are you ready to support your fellow Cougs? Cougs First is your go-to business network for WSU alumni and friends. If you're looking for product services or new hires, think Cougs First. Join the network, discover upcoming events, and support Coug-owned businesses today at cougsfirst.org. Well, Zane Saggio back in the Cougar Sports Network studios. Chris King here with Craig Elo. Our engineer, Jerry Kyla. Washington State up 10-6 on Seattle U. Simon Hildebrand checks into the game. Cougs with the ball coming out of the media timeout. 4.5 minutes into the contest here in Pullman. Emily Yalaho puts it on the floor, far corner, picked up by the smaller Maldonado. Begins to post up. Now double team. Trying to find the open man. Dangerous pass taken away. It's Arrington who steps in front of it. Already the second steal for him of the night.
Yeah, he was looking at EY's eyes the whole time, knowing that he was trying to get the ball to Adria.
Heimbrodt muscles his way to the basket, misses the shot, gets his own miss. Here's a third chance for Seattle U. It's a putback. Huron Dan makes it, and he's fouled. Well, the Cougs dominated on the glass in the first meeting here. This is going to be another second chance point already for Seattle U. They pull within 2, a chance to make it a 1-point play as Dan heads to the line.
So, yeah, this opportunity to make a 3-point play here all stems about on the turnover down on the other end. If we just take care of the basketball, they are shooting horrendously right now.
60% foul shooter Huron Dan, who is one of 7 players from China on a Division I roster this season, makes it, and the Cougs had a 6-point lead that has now been cut down to only a 1-point advantage. Full court pressure, and Andre Rodriguez needs somewhere to go. He calls a timeout. David Riley clearly frustrated there, having to burn a timeout this early. 15 minutes, 3 seconds to play in the first half. Well, reminder, Cougar Nation, each time you bring your Toyota vehicle to be serviced at a local and participating Toyota dealership, you can receive a premium Washington State giveaway item as a member of the Toyota Rewards program. To join the program, visit wsucougars.com/Toyota Rewards. Cougs up 10-9. Hot start. Cougs have been able to feed ND Okafor, get a couple of threes from Reeve Avers, but that issue that's been consistently hurting Washington State throughout the year, turnovers. 3 turnovers here, so points off of turnovers and second chance points. That's what puts Seattle U only down by 1.
Yeah, man. If we give them the opportunity to be in this basketball game, it's their extra effort that's going to get them in there. But when you got them pressing and they're playing in front of you, the side guys have got to just hold their ground and then break up and get the basketball.
Rodriguez going to get into Jerome Morton, but an offensive foul going to be called on Morton on a push-off. So the Cougs dealing with that full court pressure. Maldonado, and I think David Riley's argument would be that he flopped, but the officials not seeing it that way. Leads to an offensive foul. Now the Redhawks will have a chance to take their first lead of the night.
So not only are they fronting our 2 front guys, just throw the ball like a football player over the back shoulder.
Emmanuel Ugbo comes into the game. Ugbo, Rodriguez, Glass, Hildebrand, and Favors. The 5 Cougs out on the floor. John Christophilis will see his first action for Seattle U. Driving, it's Junsuk Yo. Out over to Arrington, will take and make a 3-pointer. Arrington just his 10th made 3 of the season. And this run for Seattle U continues. 8-0 stretch for the Redhawks as the Cougs face their first deficit, down 12-10. Under the basket, Glass, extra dish. Now we're to Favors' left wing. Trying to find Ugbo. He does. Ugbo drives baseline, picks up his dribble, cross-court pass to Rodriguez, leaves his feet to haul it in. Adria spinning around, entry dish to Hildebrand, 7 on the shot clock. He'll pull up the mid-range jumper. Good touch from Simon. His last 2 home games, 35 points for Simon. He's fresh off a Division I career-high 19 in that last game, the victory Saturday over Pepperdine. He ties it up at 12 apiece.
And not a bad job by Adria not panicking when the ball was cross-court to him. He had, 10 seconds on the shot clock? He took his time, got the ball into the post.
Huron Dan, kick out. Christophilis starts to drive, and he went on ice skates. He traveled, no doubt about it. Attempted to plant that right foot, and instead, that pivot foot ended up moving. And I think back eggs, Tomas Thrasherson got hurt in the Seattle U game, and it feels like the emergence of Simon Hildebrand has helped to fill the void without Tomas available.
You're dead on right there, and we didn't even realize what was it like. He walked off the floor with 10 minutes left in the first half.
Ugbo needs to get rid of it. Does just in the nick of time to Adria Rodriguez. Into traffic. Baseline pass. Simon. Open corner 3. Takes it. Makes it. Oh, Simon is feeling it. 15-12. The Cougs take back the lead thanks to 5 straight points for the native of Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Did you call him Paul Simon? He's singing right now, boy.
Where's our Garfunkel when you need him? Christophilis being pestered by Ace Glass, and they'll call a foul on Emmanuel Ugbo. Pass going down low to the post player, Huron Dan. But Ugbo bumps him. That's already going to be team foul number 6 on the Cougs. Here we are, first half at Beasley. 13 minutes, 14 seconds to play. 6 fouls on Washington State as a team, just 2 on Seattle U. Cougs have the 3-point edge. Seattle U will inbound it from the baseline. Arrington looking for somewhere to go. Maldonado off the screen has Ace Glass on him like glue. Falls down, and there will be a turnover. He just hit the deck. No foul against Washington State. Cougs will have the ball.
So when you guard somebody like Maldonado, the big scorer that he is, you got to trail him just like Ace does, and then you got to fight through that screen and not let the screen give him an inch, because if he gets an inch, he's going to be able to score.
And there's going to be an illegal screen on Washington State. Or was it a push-off there? Either way, it's going to go against Washington State's Ace Glass, and the fouls are really adding up on the Cougs. David Riley fit to be tied. It's going to be the 17th foul on Washington State. There's 13 minutes and 4 seconds to go in the first half. For the Cougs right now, Jerome Morton has 2 fouls. At least no one besides Jerome with more than 1.
Yeah, but we don't want to put them on the free throw line, because their shooting is just not, going to win the ball game for them.
They've been struggling offensively as of late. They've lost 5 of their last 7 after having their hottest start since the 60s this season. Working around the perimeter. Maldonado goes baseline pass, intercepted by Reeve Avers. Cougs pushing in transition, outlet pass up to Ace Glass, attacking the basket into the paint, over to Hildebrand. Pump fake on the catch and shoot 3. Dribbles it down low, double team, ball stripped away, and it's Arrington, his 3rd steal of the night. Cougs turned it over again, and it's Arrington, who's such a thief out there, who picks the pocket of Simon Hildebrand.
When he turned his back on the spin, you got to be aware of where everyone is.
Straightaway 3, Jun Suk Yo has it, miss off the front of the iron. Cougs come away with it. Washington State here with the lead, 15-12. Hildebrand, not enough room to pull the trigger on the 3. Entry pass to Ugbo from the low post. He goes into his defender. No foul call. Turn around left-handed hook shot. He's got it. It was Jun Suk Yo who went down. The officials don't blow the whistle, and Ugbo has the hook shot. Cougs now back up by 12, so it was an 8-0 Seattle U run, countered now by a 7-0 Cougar run.
And even though that was a flop, I'm glad they let it go. They just played through it. The officials could have called it, but all he did was flop on Ugbo.
Maldonado's been quiet so far. Here's a left wing 3. Arrington, good job of altering that shot by Ugbo on the closeout. Just barely kissed the front of the rim. Cougs grab the miss. Ace Glass, let's see if he can make something happen. Over to Favors, left wing 3, he's already made 2. In and out, just misses the 3rd. Rebound for Yo. The Red Hawks will slow it down.
But a shot that I think the staff can live with Reeves taking it, and I don't think he will ever say don't shoot it.
Favors entering tonight, shooting 40% from deep, and there's going to be a foul on WSU's Emmanuel Ugbo. That's going to be team foul number 8 with 11:05 to go in the first half. 1-1 coming up for Seattle U. Both teams having some runs, but right now the momentum here with the Cougs. It is Washington State 17, Seattle U 12. 11 minutes, 5 seconds to go in the first half. You're listening to Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Play, stay, get away at Clearwater River Casino in Lewiston, Idaho. Owned and operated by the Nez Perce Tribe. Experience Namipu hospitality with 600 gaming machines, comfortable lodging, dining, and sports bar. Excitement is everywhere. The region's premier destination for events and entertainment. Win big with unforgettable concerts, comedy shows, and live sports action. Discover your next play, stay, get away. Visit crcasino.com and start your adventure today.
Hi, I'm Andre Gabriel.
I'm Dara Peters.
And I'm Tasia Sniffen. We're cheerleaders on the WC Spirit Squad.
Meet Krista Gross, the realtor who supports students like us with NIL sponsorships and resources to help us succeed.
She's dedicated, relentless, and always puts her clients first, just like a true Coug.
With award-winning service and a passion for helping people, Krista is the ultimate coach for home buyers and sellers.
Support her because she supports us. You can find her online at KristaGross.com. That's Krista with the K, KristaGross.com. Go Cougs!
On game day, Pullman heads to the Lumberyard Food Hall. Enjoy burgers and drinks from Timber, island favorites from Island Grill, and bold Colombian flavors from Mi Rinconcito Colombiano. And when the sun goes down, dancing every Friday and Saturday night, 18 and older after 10 p.m. There's something for everyone at the Lumberyard Food Hall in downtown Pullman.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill. Official partner of WSU Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. Back courtside here at Beasley Coliseum. Chris King next to Craig Elo. Our engineer Jerry Kylo. Eggs Cougs up 17-12 with 11:05 to play in the first half. What do you have? What are you most pleased with to this point by the Washington State performance?
Oh, I'm pleased with our shooting percentage, but if you go further to the right on the stat sheet, I mean, we haven't seen this one in a really long time, probably last 3 or 4 games. 4 assists, 6 turnovers. I mean, we've been ahead in the assist over the turnovers. So the only way they're going to score is at the free throw line. They're shooting 30%.
And that is where they are. Braden Maldonado makes the first. It's the front end of the one-on-one, but this is one of the last people in the nation you want at the line. Maldonado, 11th best free throw percentage in the nation, 92% foul shooter. Cougs already have 18 fouls. Next shot is good. He makes both. That ends the 7-0 run for Washington State. Full court pressure being applied again. Parker Garrett seeing his first minutes. Takes the inbounds pass. Clears it to Adria Rodriguez. Cougs up 17-10. Washington State has led for the bulk of this game over 5 minutes. Seattle U having that advantage for just under a minute. Reeve Avers works it over to Adria Rodriguez. Shoves out that right arm. A lot of contact down low with Andy Okafor. No whistle. Feeds Okafor, but close to the foul line. He's double teamed. Back over to Adria. 7 on the shot clock. Fakes the cross-court dish. 5 on the shot clock. Adria, cross-court pass to Garrett. He'll have to take a 3. No, a long 2. He gets it off in time. And he makes it! Just about as when the buzzer was going. Garrett gets that shot up and in, a long 2 from Parker.
Yeah, when he caught that Adria pass, it was hit him in the hands, but he misplayed it. So it led him right into the shorter shot, and he makes it.
Huron Dan for the left block will dribble out, trying to post up on Okafor. Turnaround hook shot, misses to the left. Nice defense by Okafor. Rodriguez, the Cougar guard, there to snatch the rebound. Finds Favors. Thinking about that long 3, not enough room. Working around the perimeter. It goes to Garrett's off of the ND screen. Top of the key. Terminates the dribble. Into the post to Okafor. Ball stripped loose. Cougs turn it over again for Washington State. That's already turnover number 7 of the night.
Much stronger by hands by ND. You can't let a guard come down and slap it away from you.
Open for the left wing 3. Heimbrodt drives instead over to Dan, and the shot is cleanly blocked. It's Favors who's able to knock that ball away. It will go out of bounds on Favors. Seattle U will keep it. 16 on the shot clock. We'll see the first minutes of the night for Miles Amos and Brock Felder, 2 guys off the bench for Seattle U. Huron Dan will go over and get a breather. Washington State, Reeve Favors, Emily Yalaho, Andy Okafor, Jerome Morton back in the game, and Parker Garrett. Morton will try to defend Maldonado. Catch and shoot jumper off of the inbounds pass from the corner. It's no good. Maldonado races by Yalaho after the rebound. Nearly took it away. Cougs, though, hang tight on the ball. Get the outlet pass up to Garrett. Set up their half-court offense. Okafor begins to drive from the far corner. Hands it off over to Parker Garrett. Parker around the perimeter to Okafor. Now to Favors. He'll take a deep contested 3, and he splashes it home. Already the 3rd 3 of the night for Reeve Favors. The Cougs on a 12-2 run. They have their largest lead of the game, up 22-14 on the Redhawks.
And you can credit EY for that. He had a smaller guy on him, but he kept working him up the paint.
Here's JoJo Murphy. He misses on the 8-footer. Cougs grab the miss. Jerome Morton back in the game. 2 turnovers, 2 fouls for Jerome. Favors calls for it. Not enough room to take the 3s. Had the hot hand. His defender falls down, and it will be a blocking foul on Braden Maldonado. That would have been really bad news for Washington State, because before that whistle was blown, 6 more fouls called against the Cougs than Seattle U. With just under 9 minutes to play in the first half, 18 fouls on Washington State. That's just the 3rd on the Redhawks.
Yeah, I mean, we can't be that much more aggressive than the Redhawks. They're flying everywhere.
Cougs inbound pass goes to Yalaho. Fights his way into the lane. Kick out. Favors. Open for 3 again. No good. Trying to get the miss. Knocked out of bounds off of Emily Yalaho. Seattle U will get it. Right now, the top scorer in this game is Reeve Favors. He's got 9 points, all on 3-pointers, but he has 3 rebounds as well. 9 boards for the Cougs.
Didn't JoJo do something to us in Seattle?
JoJo Murphy, 8 points, was 2 of 2 from beyond the arc and had 3 steals.
Yeah.
Outstanding player at Chico State, transferring. It's his first year at the Division I level. Parker Garrett's active on defense, steps in front of a pass intended for Miles Amos and swipes it out of bounds, far sideline. Seattle U will keep the ball. Cougs in this game shooting 75%. Seattle U shooting just 24%. And that has been the weakness lately for the Seattle U team. Here's a quick steal for Washington State. It's Morton with the takeaway. Yalaho top of the key over to Okafor. Now the flip to Morton. Morton begins to drive, double team, pestered far corner, and he gets knocked to the hardwood. Will it be a foul call? It will. Team foul number 4 on Seattle U, and I think that was David Riley, but we heard someone from the Cougar bench shout out thank you after that whistle was blown.
Yeah, I mean, the Redhawks, I don't know why they had to foul Morton. He was in the dead man's corner right there. All you had to do was just play with your hands up. But, yeah, they got aggressive and pushed him out of bounds.
From the baseline, short inbounds pass to Yalaho. Has it left block, guarded by Heimbrot. Up with the left hand. Off the window. He shoves it in. What a shot by Emily Yalaho. And that leads to Seattle U taking a timeout. Chris Victor calls a timeout. Cougs take the double-digit lead. It's a 14-2 Washington State run, putting the Cougs on top of the Redhawks 24-14, 8:06 to go first half.
I'm telling you, payback is very rewarding. So, yes, we need to take it to these guys.
We'll take a break. More after this. You're listening to Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Boost Collaborative is a proud sponsor of Cougar Athletics and is a proud supporter of people with disabilities on the Palouse. For over 50 years, Boost Collaborative has been there to help families and their toddlers meet developmental milestones. For youth and adults with disabilities, Boost provides job placement, on-the-job training, and follow-along support. Now you can play a part in Boost's success through your donations and purchases at Palouse Treasures Thrift Store in Pullman. Boost Collaborative, empowering people with disabilities on the Palouse. Go Cougs!
Download the WSU Cougars mobile app today, which features the latest news. Plus, it's your way to stream all of our Cougar Sports Network radio broadcasts. Listen to Cougar football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, baseball game broadcast, plus coaches shows, all for free with WSU Cougars Game Day app. Take our broadcast with you wherever you go. Available now by searching WSU Cougars Game Day in the Apple App Store or Google Play.
If you use natural gas, you recognize its blue flame. But natural gas is actually invisible and odorless. That's why Avista adds a rotten egg scent in case there's ever a leak. If you smell natural gas at home, get outside fast. Don't flip switches or do anything to cause a spark. Go somewhere safe. Call 911. Then Avista. We'll take care of the problem and tell you when it's okay to return. Till then, it's a good excuse to visit the neighbors. Avista. We just want you to be safe.
And WSU fans want to support the team just by paying your phone bill. Switch to Cougs Mobile today at cougsmobile.com on the T-Mobile 5G network. Washington State on a 14-2 run here at Beasley Coliseum. The Cougs lead Seattle U 24-14. First half, 8:06 to play. We're approaching the top of the hour, which means we'll pause right now 10 seconds for station identification here on the Cougar Sports Network.
Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
Chris King here next to Craig Elo and Eggs. We got the stat sheet in front of us. Washington